Today is Thursday, the 3rd of July 2025. A warm welcome to the AM show and good morning to you, wherever you're watching and listening to us from. My name is Sweetie Aboagye, and I'm here to tell you what to expect on the AM show this morning. So for the first hour of the show, we have the News Belt, where we'll bring you AM news, including the business update and AM sports. And then we'll take our seats to review the newspapers. And to help us do that today, we have Awal Mohammed. He's from the NPP Communications Directorate. Wanda Madilo is from the NDC Communications team. And Nanayal Sapong is from the Movement for Change. And those three gentlemen will be joining us to review the newspapers and the stories in there. After we get into our big stories, and of course the biggest story in the country this morning is that launch of the 24-hour Economy Plus. From slogan to action. And President John Mahama is touting this flagship 24-hour Economy Plus as the game changer. And it has the end game to provide 1.7 million quality jobs and 2 million hectares of land to be cultivated, with the Volta Basin becoming the breadbasket of the country. Now, with government seeking to acquire some $4 billion of private sector funding to achieve its goal, it's also a question of sustainability and the audacious program, whether it actually meets us at the point of our needs. This and many other matters arising will be unpacked this morning on the AM show, and we'll sit with our guest this morning. It's an expert panel, so you don't want to miss anything. We'll also take a second look at the new value-added tax. We'll have our time with the Ghana Revenue Authority. They joined us yesterday, and today we continue the engagement with them. Folks, you're invited to join us across all social media platforms on the Joy News channel, and on social media, we are Joy News on TV. The AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties. We provide quality housing at affordable cost and with a flexible payment option. Let's get into the AM news now. Welcome aboard the AM show. This is the first news bulletin on the Joy News channel. Welcome to the AM News. 4 Chinese nationals arrested for allegedly engaging in illegal mining have been remanded by the Aboagye Circuit Court for 2 weeks. A fifth suspect, identified only as Lee, is on the run. According to the police prosecutor, the suspects have admitted to the offense in their caution statement, and Nanayal Jima tells us more.
The suspects were charged by prosecution on 3 counts of conspiracy to mine without lawful authority and mining without authority. They were also charged with possession of firearms and ammunition without lawful authority. According to prosecution, the suspects were arrested in an operation on the 27th July 2025 at Old Atetem in the Adanse Asokwa district of the Ashanti region for alleged engagement in illegal mining along the Subin and Jimmy rivers.
You have a Bololi number for your head? No head.
The operation was led by CEO of the Minerals Development Fund, Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisiu Korte, with her team and personnel from the Ashanti South Regional Police Command.
So what has happened is that actively they are on high alert. So any strange movement, they move out. But we are not too much into them now, because you see, now we have the machine, the owners will come.
According to the police, the suspects were actively mining at the time of their arrest. Prosecution told the court that 4 semi-automatic pump action guns and 20 BB live cartridges were retrieved from them. The police further indicated 11 excavator machines were seen at the mining sites. Part of 4 of them had been removed to immobilize the equipment. The 7 excavators were transported to the regional police headquarters and impounded. Prosecution says efforts are underway to get the one who is said to be at large. For Joy News, Nanayal Jima, Aboagye.
Members of the National Democratic Congress in the Yaw Central constituency are imploring President John Mahama, the Vice President and the national executives of the party to call the Central Regional Chairman of the party, Professor Richard Asiedu, to order, describing his actions as an abuse of power. Their plea follows a recent arrest of some members of the party accused of defamation by the chairman. At a press conference held in Chifu, Etimokwa, and addressed by Charlotte Wache, the party members shared that the activities of these persons do not warrant an arrest, nor criminal charges, indicating fears of division and loss of political power in the constituency if the issue is not resolved immediately.
Was these two issues? One, alleging that they paid losing bonus against me, and then two, the NADMO appointment to Yaw Central. Based on this, that the regional chairman says they have deformed his personality, so he took them to police station. And then when he got to police station too, this thing, they also, the writ of sermon they give to them, no, it looks like the CIDs extracted the civil aspect from it, and then they made it criminal case. So they wrote to the court that they should put them in bars for them to do investigation, of which it's not in order. If everybody is hearing me now, this is not in order. Doing press conference doesn't mean you have killed somebody, so it becomes a criminal issue. We are pleading with the top hierarchy, the leadership of our great NDC party, that this party has structures of resolving issues. Chairman Asiedu has done his worst, so party should step in. We are pleading, we are not commanding, we are pleading that we shouldn't allow the guys to be here till the Wednesday they are saying. As I'm speaking now, we are at Etimokwa police station, the one located at top their premises. Our guys are in there. They did not put them in Fosu. Neither to Praso. It is Etimokwa that they have brought them. They have parents. They have wives. They have children. We imagine the parents when they hear this, that sacrificing for a party, that at the end of its success, no job, no means of saying thank you, but rather put you in bars. We know that this act would demoralize the youth of Yaw, the branch level of Yaw Central. So we are pleading our mame, Professor Jane no Pokwajiman Obatampa, please step into this. President, because I'm a woman talking, that is why I first called my mother. President John Mahama, we know that you are a man of good standing. We plead with you people, just free these gentlemen for the sake of Yaw Central seat that we have first secured it for 24 years. We are pleading with you that do everything possible. This is not criminal case, and bring them out for us.
Well, let's stay on politics a while longer, because National Democratic Congress and New Patriotic Party have taken strong positions on the Electoral Commission's fresh position to rerun elections in 19 polling stations to determine the winner in the Aboagye North parliamentary election. The Electoral Commission is taking another shot in an attempt to determine a winner. The Commission has, in a latest press statement, says it has engaged the NDC and the NPP and has resolved to rerun the elections in 19 outstanding polling stations instead of 37. After a series of consultations, the EC is announcing they will make another attempt on July the 11th, and this time, not collation, but a rerun.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. The Commission strongly believes that for the processes that have gone on so far, if we go back to the good people of this country that we are abolishing everything, it will not be good for our democracy. It will not be good for our democracy. Thank you. So let's allow the process to continue. Thank you.
And Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed, rejected the EC's move, describing it as bogus. He spoke on the Pulse.
Protection of the police to enable us complete the coalition process.
Right.
And declare the parliamentary results for the Aboagye North constituency. You also remember that on the 29th or so, it was Friday, that they went to Parliament. He was asked questions specifically on whether there is a court action that is restraining the Electoral Commission from proceeding to collate and declare. They indicated that it was because of security issues, and they said that they are ready if the security is provided for them to collate the 3 polling stations. So these are consistency in terms of the reportage. So for us to wake up, then we come for a meeting, you tell us that this, and that's why all the parties stood their position. We know that the Electoral Commission has a record of which they have been able to collate. And I will tell you, the Dominico Abena, they were not pinchies. That particular polling station, they went ahead. They declared a rerun of that particular polling station. So what has changed? They told Parliament that they are ready to declare. They are ready to collate and declare. And you just come and tell us that you are doing 19 polling stations. Where is it coming from? You think we are fools in this country? We're not going to accept it. That if you check My Joy online, 28th of December, you are a place of record too. They indicated their ability to conduct a rerun of some polling station or one polling station in Dominico Abena. That never came on, but they went ahead and did a declaration.
Let's take to the Akim North constituency.
The Electoral Commission's decision to do a rerun is bogus, and which we as a party will not accept it. The General Secretary will be doing a press conference tomorrow and will lay bare to the facts of the matter. These are legal matters, and I don't think that the Electoral Commission's decision can supersede the decision of the High Court.
Meanwhile, the NDC, however, disagrees with NPP, backing the EC's decision to do a rerun. Mustapha Bandi is Deputy General Secretary of the NDC.
Indeed, the same way we went to plead with the people of Ghana in December 2024 to give His Excellency John Mahama a chance. On any occasion, the NDC will rally around and go for an election, given that that election would be held within the laws of this country. Haruna's argument have no place in law. It has no place in politics. Indeed, the MPP at this stage is afraid of going to an election because they know that the consensus call, an agreement by the people of Ghana, that the MPP represented, participated in corruption, mismanagement of this country, that will manifest in the 19 polling stations we are going to hold. So they are afraid to go for that election.
Away from that, the headmaster of Wawara Senior High School is appealing to the current government to complete several projects initiated in 2012 that have remained abandoned for over a decade. Construction of key facilities, including an assembly hall, a kitchen complex, and a 12-unit classroom block, has stalled, with contractors deserting the site. As a result, the school has been forced to convert one of the 12-unit classroom blocks into a dormitory to accommodate students, while other incomplete structures are being used as makeshift classrooms for academic activities. Peter Senu has more.
The woes of Wawara Senior High School came to the fore during the launch of the 50th anniversary celebration of the school. The school, though 50 years and becoming renowned in recent years for its STEM innovations, have serious infrastructural deficits that have compelled authorities in the school to make some adjustments for the smooth running of the school. Michael Damesi is the headmaster of the school.
The school initially was started as a community school, and then it's migrated to become a government assisted. Initially it was started and it was a technical institute. Then by 1975, government came to absorb the school, and it has now become a government assisted secondary school. That is why today and this year marks the 50th year of the institution of this great school, and we want to celebrate the 50th anniversary. Wawara SHS is well noted for its STEM, and it is very true. When the STEM program started in the year 2022, we were among the first group of schools that went, and our output or performance was well appreciated by the whole gathering over there, and this has won a lot of laurels. However, our infrastructure does not match our performance to see. We need more, and there are some ongoing projects that will pray that the government comes to our aid to get this project completed.
This is the dining hall and kitchen complex that was started in 2012. This is also a 12-unit dormitory block started in 2012 but waiting to see its completion. It is currently being used as a classroom facility due to lack of space for teaching and learning. This is supposed to be a 12-unit classroom block. It is currently serving as a dormitory accommodation for the boys since the initial block for their accommodation is yet to be completed. I met this chemistry class being held in an open dining hall. The facilitator, Walanyo, and the school prefect, Matthew, say the environment is not conducive for effective teaching and learning.
The concepts that I'm supposed to teach them from a practical perspective, that's from a concrete perspective, and rather doing it from an abstract perspective. And so it's quite challenging for the students, I would say.
It's because it is an open place. Whenever people are passing or animals are making noise, it distracts our studies here. And also, it is closer to our kitchen. So when they are cooking, in fact, the aroma and the noise from the kitchen distracts our lesson, and it takes away most of the students' concentration.
Authorities and students are appealing to government to consider strongly completing projects started over 10 years ago that have been abandoned. Peter Senu for Joy News.
In other stories, Ghana's gold buying company, Gold Board, has made a significant bust, dismantling an illegal gold syndicate involving 10 Chinese nationals in Asankragua. This major operation comes just 48 hours after a new law took effect, prohibiting foreign nationals from engaging in gold trading in the country. Michael Ashali reports.
Barely 48 hours after announcing the end of a grace period for foreign nationals in the gold trade, Gold Board is cracking down. CEO Sami Jemfi says some foreign traders have defied the directive, and now a 10-man Chinese syndicate operating from a private residence in Asankragua has been busted.
10 of them who were hiding somewhere in Asankragua in the western region. Were hiding in a private residence. So we got gold of about 1.3 kg. We got cash of about 1.3 million. So what they do is that they convert the money into casino cards. Casino cards we got, these are not all. We have a lot of them. These are not all. And when you see a casino card like this, it is money. And they are so important to them so that the casino cards were in this two huge safes that we can make available to you for you to photograph. And these are the pieces of the gold bars that we got from them. You can see that for them to have been able to convert the gold into this form, it means that they have a foundry.
We are told by the board that they managed to seize about 1.3 kg of gold, which is estimated to cost a market value of 1.4 million Ghana cedis. As well, they managed to get some cash, which has now been bagged as well. 1.3 million cedis were found on these 10 Chinese nationals that were in Asankragua. Additionally, these assault rifles were also picked up from them. This latest operation marks the 17th successful bust by the Gold Board since the new licensing law came into force. So far, over 34 million cedis in cash and gold have been confiscated, with the Western region recording the highest activity.
The operations that took place at Takwa, Ahojo in the Ashanti region, Denyame, Asankragua, Takwa, Aboso, Obuasi in the Asante region, Asankragua, which is the current one we are talking about. So 17 successful operations. So you're talking about in excess of 12 million Ghana cedis in gold. Then the cash we have seized is also in excess of 24 million Ghana cedis.
Previously, foreign nationals caught in such operations were deported, but not anymore. With the grace period over, the Gold Board says offenders will now be prosecuted in Ghana.
Now the grace period is over, and we have given countless warnings upon warnings. And so when you are arrested now, there will not be anything like deportation. And so we have instructed the investigators to build a watertight case based on this solid evidence that the field operatives have made available to them.
There's the expectation that more of these busts will be done across the country to make sure they confiscate more and root out the foreigners in the gold buying business. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
So let's bring some updates to you on the National Science and Maths Quiz. And from chart-topping lyrics to academic headlines, Teobodom is back on in the spotlight. But this time, it's not about a viral song. In a stunning upset at the Bono regional qualifiers of the 2025 National Science and Maths Quiz, Teobodom Senior High Technical School knocked out the much-fancied Kintampo Senior High School. They've secured a second straight ticket to the national stage, flipping the town's image from meme to momentum. Collins Frimpong has more.
A spectacular battle of brains opened the Bono East qualifiers as Teobodom Senior High Technical School stunned the much-touted regional giants Kintampo SHS. Kintampo, who had made 4 consecutive appearances at the national championship since 2021, were seen as favourites heading into the contest, but Teobodom had other plans. In a dramatic finish, the edge passed Kintampo by just 3 points, delivering one of the region's biggest upsets.
It brings down the proud and raise the humble. So we are moving slowly and humble. And the schools out there, we are moving slowly and by God's grace.
Which schools are the proud ones? Specific ones?
No, I can't really mention any name now.
Went through the social media, people are saying Kintampo, Kintampo. We got a little bit scared, but the almighty kings.
The almighty kings.
In the second contest, it was all Mount Carmel. Our Lady of Mount Carmel Girls' SHS from Techiman delivered a dominant performance, outclassing their opponents with ease. The 1-8 stage finalists in both 2021 and 2023 made their intent clear. They are heading to the nationals to make an even bigger impact this year.
Pepper them.
I don't understand.
Oh, they should prepare. We are coming with pepper. We're going to give them pepper. What's so? Oh, give them pepper. Oh yes. They should prepare because we are coming and we are not going to take it easy. Like, we're not going to take it lightly.
The qualifiers wrapped up with Ekunfi Amiao SHS and Techiman SHS securing the final 2 slots from the region, rounding off an intense day of academic excellence.
From first school, I have noticed that they learn hard and then they took first in every competition they go. That's why.
So you want your school to ship them?
Yeah, we will ship them. They should prepare and wait for us. At stake, we are coming over there.
Coming up next, Samuel Kojo Brace takes you into our business update.
Welcome to the business update on the AM show. Let's start with what's happening in the currency market. Well, away from the currency market, government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu has called for a monetary and fiscal consolidation to sustain the downward inflation trend experienced in the last 6 months. According to him, if the exchange rate continues to remain stable while ensuring fiscal discipline coupled with strong monetary policies, the country could continue to experience downward inflation. Here is more from the June Consumer Price Index presser.
Sustainability of prices is extremely important, and the government has a big role to play in ensuring that these prices are sustained, because the prices, as I mentioned, are a function of a number of variables. some of which government has control on, others are external forces. So, for example, if you take exchange rate, I mean, if the exchange rate continue to depreciate, it will definitely impact on inflation, both largely directly on imported inflation, but also on local inflation, especially inflation that relates to items which has inputs which are imported into the country. So it means that managing the exchange rate effectively is extremely important to stay the course. Managing the exchange rate would mean that activities of the Gold Board is extremely important to ensure that it can support, FX inflows to improve FX supply in the system. Number two, fiscal consolidation is also very important, and that's within the ambit of the Ministry of Finance to ensure that they actually stay in the course with regards to the implementation of the IMF-supported program, and also ensure that the fiscal consolidation agenda that it is pursuing is also on course. So that's also important to be done. Thirdly, it's important for government to continue to implement and possibly even intensify its growth-oriented initiatives. So, for example, the 24-hour economy that is being launched today, after it's being launched, we should see effective implementation of it. There are policies like the Big Push program, which is expected to bridge the infrastructure gap by providing resources for infrastructure development, whether they are in roads, they are in schools, they are in, other energy, etc. So that should also be implemented effectively.
Now, the cedi has recorded its first monthly depreciation against the dollar for this year. Industry data show that it depreciated by 0.96% against the greenback for the month of June. There's more in the following report.
The data tracked how the cedi fared against the dollar since the beginning of this year. It showed that it has been doing well against the dollar in every month since the beginning of the year. For instance, it recorded one of its highest appreciation against the dollar in the month of May. However, in June, it depreciated marginally against the dollar. Some industry persons are linking it to the sudden pressure on the local currency as a result of the announcement made by President John Mahama about the desired value of the currency and limited supply of dollar earlier during the month. Also, when we explore the year-to-date performance of the Ghana cedi against the dollar, it has appreciated by 42%. Our checks also showed that the Bank of Ghana spent $4.45 billion so far for this year to meet the needs of the banks and businesses and to also support the local currency. It is, however, not clear for now whether the Bank of Ghana may hike the policy rate further or ease it a little bit, as there are strong indications that inflation will drop further this week when the Ghana Statistical Service announced the rate for the month of June. This could be the fifth consecutive decline since the beginning of this year.
Let's wrap up the business update with what is happening in the currency in the commodities market. And that's how we wrap up the AM news. Up next is Sports with Mubarak. Stay tuned.
Time for sports on the AM show with me, Haruna Mubarak. Now, momentum is building ahead of the highly anticipated Joy Sports Invitational Tournament, which is set for August 9 at the University of Ghana Stadium. Now, following a successful return in 2024, this year's edition promises another exciting day of corporate sports, networking, and healthy competition. Max Fuga is the head of sales and marketing here at the Multimedia Group.
We are excited that the Joy Sports Invitational is back, and the 2025 edition is going to be bigger and better. Because as a listening media house, we've listened to our patrons last year, we listened to the participating teams last year, and we have factored them into this year's event. So it will be bigger and better. We have introduced, we've increased the number of activities, the sporting activities that the teams are going to compete in. Again, this year, we're going to take the registration well ahead of time so we can plan better for them. A lot of things have already expressed interest since we went out on air, and I can tell you that as at Monday, we had 15 teams registering. And so that should tell you that this year is going to be very, very competitive. One of the things we've also noticed that when it comes to the JAMA side, a lot of things are not able to participate. But those who participate very well. And so this year, the first competition will be a JAMA competition among all the participating teams. And so we want to see the MDs leading the JAMA competition. And we're going to award fantastic prizes to the winners and the participants of the JAMA competition. So all roads lead to the Legon Stadium on the 9th of August this year for the 2025 edition of the Joy Sports Invitational, which is bigger and better. Oh yes, I look forward to see the MD of National Petroleum. Last year they participated, but I didn't see their MD. Chief Eduji, I want to see you there. I want to see Mr. Edward Bauer there for Goyle. And of course, the Apex Bank, ARP Apex Bank, we want to see their MD participating fully. I think last year they were led by the deputy MD, but this year we want to see the MD there. And all our clients, Minerals Commission MD, we want to see you there. Safoda MD, he's always good. Last year he was sad that he didn't win the penalty kicks. They'll be there. And of course, my own boss, Ken Ansa, will be there. And my chief executive, Mr. Kwesichum, will represent live. So let's all be there to participate in this year's event. And I can promise you, it is going to be a very, very memorable day.
Now, one company gearing up with high confidence for this year's tournament is the Magdan Group. Now, their founder, Daniel Macaulay, popularly known as Magdan, has boldly declared that his team would win 60% of this year's events.
This year, for me, is going to be crazy. One of the tournaments that we've been winning, which I really love, is the JAMA one. You know, this season, I want to bring our own judges for the JAMA competition, because we weren't so happy we didn't win the last year JAMA competition. We're supposed to win that JAMA competition, but I don't know what happened, so we'll bring our international judges to be part of your judges and see what happened. This year we are winning tennis, football. The volley is always for us, so we'll not even compete with anybody. I know our opponents wouldn't want to even appear. So that one is a done deal. We are training 2 athletes to take those trophies. So we are very confident that we are likely to wipe about 60% of all the trophies. So Ghana should be ready. Corporate Ghana should be ready. And we are coming. And we like the noise. So you see our first badge coming in our T-shirts with a JAMA. Everybody must be ready for us.
Where are you camping your team?
Oh, we are now in Choco. Our camp is in Choco, Manche, near the Manche Agbona. That is where our team, all our international coaches are in Choco right now as we speak. So we'll show you videos of what we're doing in Choco.
You spoke about winning 60%, but last year you won only one. So what is that special thing you'll be doing this year?
You know, last year I wasn't in town, though I was directing them through Zoom. And they were showing me everything through drones too. But there were one or two mistakes. That's why I want to bring my own coaches, my own judges, so that it will be free and fair. They have to be free and fair. So,
talk to me. Why is it important to participate in the Joy Sports Invitational tournament?
You know, Joy is a very powerful brand, and for Magdan to associate with a powerful brand like Joy. And Joy is a lovely family, and we love to be in that family. To break bread, there's one aspect, the food aspect also. During the tournament is amazing. So it's a day, and also it's a whole year program that you plan it very well. It's a well-planned program, and on such a powerful brand, we'll always associate ourselves with you.
Yeah, so registration forms are available at the front desk of Joy FM, and it can also be downloaded from myjoyonline.com. Now to boxing. Second Vice President of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Roger Bano, has assumed the role of acting president. He steps in following the resignation of Abraham Kotei-Nikwe, who cited personal reasons. Now, Joy Sports editor Nathaniel Atto has more.
So the Constitution of the Ghana Boxing Authority is very clear on, such scenarios. So Mr. Abraham Kotei-Nikwe, after his resignation, has to hand over to the first vice president. In the instance where there is no first vice president in place, he will hand over to the second vice president. So in this particular case, the first vice president then, Mr. Rabon Dodu, resigned 2 years ago. So there's a void in that space as well. And so that's the reason why the mantle has fallen on Mr. Roger Bano, the seasoned and respected ring official, the referee judge, who will now run the association. Now, his immediate mandate is to ensure that he collaborates with all agencies, including the Sports Authority and the Ministry, to ensure that an elective Congress is held, as soon as possible. Now, he needs to bring together all the constituent bodies of the Ghana Boxing Authority, all the stakeholders, and all the associations recognized within the Constitution of the Ghana Boxing Authority to organize this. Now, Mr. Roger Bano brings a wealth of experience to the table, considering that he has earned all the badges with all the major sanctioning bodies of the sport. So I'm talking about the WBC, the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO, as well as the IBO. And he has overseen many fights, historic fights here in Ghana and our jurisdiction and outside of it. In terms of also giving back to the sport, he has led quite a number of capacity building workshops for ring officials, boxing referees, judges across the continent and also outside of the continent. And the last one I remember was in the United Arab Emirates. So he brings a wealth of experience, both domestic and international, to the table. And it's my hope that that experience will be brought to bear very heavily in his engagements with the constituent bodies, because there's a lot of listening to be done, and the listening has to reflect in whichever blueprint that is put together for the way forward to organizing the elective Congress of the Ghana Boxing Authority.
To football, young players in the heart of the Central region were given the opportunity to show their potential in front of scouts as part of a community gala to identify the next generation of talents. Lawrence Bedu has more in this report.
Over the weekend, the people of Inyan Abasa in the Central region turned on the style during a football tournament put together by Talent Sports Masters in collaboration with UK-based Elite Group agency. The showcase tournament is part of plans by the agency to identify talents in Ghana. At the end of the tournament, Abasa's SS Club emerged victorious in the final, beating Kesewa Soccer Club on penalties. medals, individual prizes, and the opportunity to be watched by scouts was at stake for the players who took part in the tournament. The representatives from Talent Sports Masters were impressed with the success of the tournament.
Oh, look at the faces of all the youth that came to. In fact, the whole town, I would say, is assembled at this park. And if you look at their faces, if you look at the cohesion, the social cohesion, even if you look at the economic impact of this activity we've had here today, I saw so many people selling. And this is what makes us happy.
It's amazing. It's amazing seeing the fact that, we are all eager to see Ghana win the World Cup one day. And then seeing these young guys, and honestly, this town itself, it's amazing the work they've done, all the lights, the turf. I mean, you don't see most of these things in Accra. But for these people to do it all the way back here, I mean, it's amazing. I'm just praying for the best for these guys. And hopefully, now that we've seen them play, at least we'll be able to help some of them go further. I'm very happy. I'm very happy to be here today.
Players who picked up individual awards see the opportunity as a great leap in their careers.
In fact, me being winning that. Anytime I win, I'm last. I'm to me opportunity now. Me dey winning. I'm here to qualify by final. Now, yeah, I'm best player of the tournament. Me go many say, menya sa actually see.
But in there, I'm a team win the best goalkeeper. Oh, I'm DP. Was also one motivate me there. 1 year too late. Oh, Abrabona album because me start here. This is I'm here. I don't know me win. One motivate me there. The brave many ma meeting my and this is me share me own crying there. What am me remember for me training serious. Ebiana we na ekitu ebia washa sende. Ebia akesa me into him DP pade in the meeting me win the award.
Head coach of the runners-up hailed the organization of the competition.
Yeah, first of all, let me congratulate the organizers for a very good work done. In fact, it was a short notice, but they did well by organizing such a tournament. And I would say it's a good platform for the development of the case. So to me, I'm so excited. Though I couldn't win the trophy, but looking at the performances of my boys, I would say I'm satisfied.
The organizers also mentioned plans to move to other parts of the country to unearth more talent.
Yeah, we are still thinking maybe it shouldn't be in a town, maybe another village. Yeah, village that maybe no one's known. We were still scouting to see where the rare talent are.
6 teams participated in the community tournament, which was played at the Enyan Abasa AstroTurf.
Appointed Hearts of Oak head coach Didi Dramani has backed Kamaldeen Sulemana to succeed at Atalanta. The Ghana international signed a 4-year contract from Southampton in a deal worth 17 million euros. Now, Didi Dramani, who worked with the 23-year-old at FC Norgeland, believes Sulemana has what it takes to flourish in the Italian Serie A.
I handled him when he was 12 years, getting to 13 years. But then I was handling Kudus and Co at Right to Dream. Just when I left Kotoko. Yeah. Again, my second stint in Right to Dream. And he was someone that I always brought in to train with the U15s. And I was preparing them for the Manchester United Premier Cup World Premier Cup competition. Yeah. And he's someone that who knows I trusted him, and at that time I remember anytime I bring him on, I tell him to express himself. And I tell him he did very well in FC Norgeland in terms of working about 80% in the medical room and then the gym, and then coming on the pitch and then being just 20 to 30% on the pitch. And then in the weekend he goes and then he plays 90 minutes. And at the end he was the fastest player in the Danish league, and he played the huge number of minutes in the. He's very tactical, with all the elements, both the phases, defensive and offensive, and he will be better in that one.
Hi, it's Kamaldeen Sulemana here. I'm very happy to be here and I'm proud to be here. Just wanted to say thank you to the Atalanta fans and the club for welcoming me here. It's a real pleasure to be here and I can't wait to get started. Forza Atalanta.
And that's your sports on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak. The newspaper review segment continues right after this, please.
Welcome back to the AM show. The show is sponsored by Waylead Properties, and we provide quality housing at affordable costs and with flexible payment options. Are you thinking of a rewarding investment you can engage in? Then Waylead Company Limited is your preferred choice for such investment. Waylead Company Limited is a real estate company with several developments to its credit in Accra. You want to invest in a new development, Willow Lane, where elegance always meets tranquility. Like I mentioned, we provide quality housing at affordable costs and with flexible payment options. In addition to 24-hour security, reliable power supply, and other social amenities to make your stay a memorable one. You can call us on these numbers, 0240-111-119 or 0504-499-999. You can also visit our website at www.waylead.org for more information. It's time now to review the newspapers and the stories captured in there that resonate with you and I. And my guest joining me in studio, I have Awal Mohammed. He's from the NPP Communications Directorate. We have Wanda Madilu from the NDC Communications team and Nanaya Sapong from the Movement for Change. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Looks like it's going to be an interesting time. We have about an hour to get into the newspapers. But like we do, I want to get your thoughts in terms of any reflections you may have for us. I'll start with you, Nanaya Sapong. What's on your mind?
Thank you very much, Chiti, and a good morning to my colleagues. I'm just admiring their beards. We have one that is so black and one that is so white.
And you have a mixture of both.
I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
Yes. When I was driving here this morning, one thought that came to my mind was the thought of patriotism and someone who say nationalism. Really, when you drive by the roadside, you will notice that there are shops by all the major roads in this country. I have said this here before, but yet you would notice that the street lights that have been provided by government are not working, they are not functioning. There are some that do not have some at all. I think that when you are making some little money out of the business you do, security should be of great importance to you. What I term personal security should be of great importance to you. No matter how many security men you employ to watch over your shop, when the place is not bright enough for us to see, the security men would not be able to function properly. It wouldn't cost you so much to actually get a street light working just by your shop. So if every shop by the roadside decides to fix one, we would end up brightening our streets across the country. Yes, you would say that it is it's a government business. Government should be able to do that. But if government has not been able to do, if government has not been able to provide, what are you doing yourself to be able to provide yourself that security you need? Let us look into it as Ghanaians. And let's
I gave myself a scare this morning, driving on that Mahama stretch. You know that it's so dark, especially the roundabout in that tall building. It was so scary. So I get what you're saying.
Yes, and that is one stretch I use so much. So we need to look at it.
Okay. Wanda Madilo, it's time for us to hear your thoughts for us this morning.
No, it's good news. Hooray. Ghana's inflation slowing down to 13.7. This is the best we have had in the last 3 years, and it's been going down since the last 6 months. We've seen consistent decline in inflation. For me, that's very, very good for our economy. It's good for planning. is also good for businesses and for even our planning at the domestic level. So I'm excited. I know that the end of year target is supposed to be 11.7 or so, and so this is a welcome news. However, you find in areas like Upper West recording some 32%, and that's owing to low production in terms of farming and all that stuff. Then it also accounts for in regions like the Upper West, Upper East, in times past, their electricity bill and all that was heavily subsidized. But government is beginning to have some recovery from those areas. And so inflation in those areas are a bit higher. Okay. You find some 32. And then you have the Bono regions also recording as low as 8.something%. So it's a fair balance. Right. I think that gradually we can have across the country.
The look on your brother's face this morning.
He's so excited. He has a leaning from Upper.
Why you don't agree with him?
He's very excited.
They say numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
No?
You see, it's true that numbers don't lie. Yeah. But you see,
this is your take, though. You can choose to either reflect on his or give us your...
Let me do my own. So that, because I was thinking it to even be part of the discussions.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
I know we'll talk about it. So this morning we'll have a packed program at the MPP national headquarters because all aspirants have been invited to meet with the Council of Elders, National Council of Elders. So the meeting is today at the party headquarters with all the aspirants. So today, those who have not declared will be seen today. Those who have intention to contest are all invited so that they will meet them so that we sanitize the airwaves. You know, we have a lot of noise coming from all over. So I'm sure the aspirants will really sanitize the space after the meeting. And again, there will be a press conference at 10 a.m. to address the misnomer that the EC will want to do at Aboagye North.
Why are you calling it a misnomer?
Yeah, because you see, if you have Boss Manasari addressing the nation through Parliament, saying that it's left with only 3 polling stations, that they need security to really collate. Now he's telling us that we're doing 19 polling stations. It's a misnomer. How? And there are letters to the effect from EC to the police that we want you to provide security for us to do the 3, the collation of the 3. Now you are telling us you're doing 19. It's strange. That's the reason the General Secretary will address a press conference today. But we want to see real change in the inflation because average lending rate in this country is still around 30–35% because Bank of Ghana policy rate is 28%, which is very high. It's strange that you will have inflation coming down. It's one of the reasons why there was a tight monetary policy just to have inflation. So people don't borrow. Businesses don't go to bank and borrow because you go and borrow chamine. So definitely, they don't do that. So we want to see real change. We want to see the price of kinky coming down, just like President Mahama went to Choco and told them they are interested in kinky.
Let me give you another angle to the discussion. When they bring out these figures, it doesn't immediately reflect in the pockets of the ordinary Ghanaian. It takes some time.
Yes. So he said in the last 6 months, there was a consistent decline. So we want to also see... So you haven't
experienced any consistent decline in your purchasing...
That's what I'm saying, that even the businesses have not seen it because they can't go and borrow because average lending rate in the banks is around 30%, between 30 and 35%. So we want to see real change. We want to see the price of kinky coming down to like 3 cedis. Because it's a consistent decline. So definitely it should be coming down small, so that at least we can get the benefit of the inflation.
All right. We actually touch on all these stories, but this is very important for me to put out. The Accra Bar Association Law Week is this week. And today, about 40 lawyers will be gathering at Obra Sports, Ifwa Sutherland Park, Ashaman Lorry Park, to give free legal services to poor people who need legal aid. So from 9 a.m. today to 4 p.m., Samson Ladianyenene will be leading another group of 40 lawyers to Insawam prisons to assess prisoners who need legal aid. We're announcing this because we want you, if you need legal aid, people who need legal aid to, take advantage of this outreach today. Remember, from 9 a.m. today to 4 p.m. They are gathering at Obra Sport, Ifwa Sutherland Park, and Ashaiman Lorry Park. But Samson himself will be leading 40 lawyers to go to Nsawam prison. If you or anyone you know falls into this category, needs legal aid but can't really afford it, take advantage of this important outreach. It's the Accra Ghana Bar Association Law Week. So that's what they're doing. So gentlemen, I want us to start on a light note before we get deep into the politics. UPSA has been in the news recently. And it appears, you know, what they're doing has sparked some controversy, whether or not they should be yanking students out of the classroom for indecent appearance. Nana Osapo, I believe you've seen these. Let's get your thoughts on this. Some will say that as university students, really, how you dress to go to the classroom shouldn't be a bother to these people. Others are saying it's a university of professional studies. And so they emphasize or reiterating the professionalism bit of it, which means you should look a certain way. Why are you laughing?
No,
yeah, what did you make of it?
When I saw the videos, I was extremely excited.
Excited?
Yes. We need to crack some discipline in our young guys. And I'll use this opportunity to extend regards to my alma mater. You know, I did Tamale Secondary School, and we had some very tough headmasters and senior housemasters at the time. You know, Bolin Asaka was my headmaster, and Alasan and co were handling. We had a woman called Madam Redcar those days. You dare not mess up your dress or shirt or dress inappropriately to get to class. Well, I did Tamale Polytechnic before my first degree. I did HND. And we had a law lecturer, Lawyer Lasson. I don't know if he's still there. He made it compulsory for you to wear a proper shirt and a tie to sit in his class. And that was how most of our gentlemen in school got to know how to wear ties to class. You are attending a university. You are being raised for the job market. And you dress indecently to class. And when the lecturers would talk, we would have lawyers and those who know the law come to talk about human rights and freedom of association and freedom of appearance and freedom of whatsoever. And so today, you would finish the university after a professional training and you cannot even put on a tie properly. You would finish university today and you cannot dress right, and they do not know the difference between what they would wear to the ninth club and what they wear to the office. Sweetie, when you walk out on the streets as a youngster, when you see most of these Gen Zs, do you not feel ashamed to even stand by the roadside, to even talk to them?
Are you asking me honestly to answer that? No, because I don't feel ashamed.
So
I don't.
You think
it's their generation and what they do.
You think
plus
that
body positivity.
Let me be blunt here.
Yeah.
Some would walk into your office, women without what friends say?
Underwear?
No, the one.
Oh, the brassiere.
With the brassiere,
okay.
without it.
You don't know the name.
Say affirmative.
Oh, you're uncomfortable saying that on there. I mean, brassiere, yeah. So you think
they
that
walk comfortably with it in town. And they walk to offices trying to seek opportunities to do industrial attachments and all of that. Who do you think was going to
now, let me floor this argument. It's one thing walking on the streets dressing that way and going into offices seeking for some sort of corporate employment. So in the offices, yes, you can frown on that. But you ask if I see them on the streets.
The orientation they are building up, they see it to be a normal thing to wear because they wear it to class.
All right, so let me hear one out on this. Wanda, do you agree? We have to share the time.
30 seconds. Just 30 seconds. You know that almost all of these institutions, the schools whatsoever, they have a code of conduct, code of dressing. When you are given an admission letter and other things, most of the schools, they print it out to you and they add it. But we always flout it just because of some flimsy excuse of freedom of appearance. And I don't know how they couch that in any way into our laws. But sweetie, I think that the University of Professional Studies, the authorities have done extremely well. I would wish, and I wish to be seeing that same move in Legon and in KNUST and in almost all the universities.
Wanda, do you agree with him?
Let me try to give you some background to this whole business. In 2021, UPSA actually undertook some review of how students dress, to class. So in 2021, they decided to put that in their handbook. So they have the student handbook that spells out what the dress code is. Yeah. Then from 2021 to 2023, they started conscientizing students on it. In fact, they decided to implement it at the time, but it was resisted. Then from 22 all the way to 2024, they even instituted an award, Best Dressed, Student Award and all that. But I think that the problem is, for me, when we talk about enforcement, people are only waiting for the thing to happen, and then you say you're enforcing. You're not enforcing. All the students that entered that campus went through the main gate. The
security.
There was a security man at the gate, both the back gate and the front gate. You allow them to enter lecture halls. Then you now go, manhandling them and say that, they are not properly dressed. I think that is unfair. That's what the lawyers are saying, that they have a human right. They have a right. It can boldly be placed at the entrance. Right to entry is reserved. I mean, everywhere, every public place you go to, they tell you that right to entry is reserved. It meaning that they decide who enters, who doesn't enter. So I think that the enforcement should go beyond classrooms. It should be at the entrance. So you are not cleared, you can enter. That's one. Number two, I think that the failure of our educational system is what is causing some of these things. When I say failure, I mean that when we were in secondary school those days, you see, the schools were owned by the missions, the Presbyterians, the Catholics, the Methodists, and all that. And they used the schools as the training ground for the input of their leaders. And so there were some standards expected. I know that in some of the Catholic schools, they even teach the girls how to, take care of themselves during their time of the month and all that. They teach them how to hold cutlery and all that, neatness and all those, sanitation. All that was embedded right from the educational institution. Today, we have many of the schools that are day schools. There is no grooming any longer. There are no counseling and guidance departments in the schools. And then you find out that the bulk of the indiscipline starts from the secondary cycle education. And so this thing that is spilling over into the university is part of the failings that we have experienced from the second cycle institution. So I will call on UPSA to be circumspect in their dealings. I don't think that the people, I saw some of them being held anyhow. These are ladies. That's clearly an infringement on the person's right. That you don't want to accept. But I think that they can stop that from the gate. Once you are not properly dressed, because I don't see why somebody is going to lectures in shorts, in flip-flops, in singlets, or in a cap, or as for the shades, it may be for medical reasons and all that. But I think that there should be some order, there should be some sanity, and they should do it before they get into the classroom. So you both agree that there should be some order, some sanity in the schools. I of course. But Nana Yaw is completely, you are against the whole Gen Z's way of dressing. Wanda Madilo is saying that it should start at the entrance. You have the right to say, don't enter if you're not properly dressed. Yes. What do you say? Yes, I think that is something that I have even written already when Nana Yaw was doing his submission. It is true that when you check UPSA, they don't even have hostels in. So unlike a place like KNUST, University of Ghana, and some few other universities where you will say the person came straight from the hostel to the lecture theater or lecture hall. But UPSA, there is an entrance where you will have people to screen them and do that. But you see, we have the notion that at a university you can dress anyhow. To be very honest, I didn't know all this until I became SRC president. I decided to read the student handbook. And I saw that in the student handbook, they have spelled out the kind of dressing and so on, which go contrary to what I see on campus and so on. So these are things that are there, especially in a university that is called University for Professional Studies, where they are supposed to churn out professionals. At least the dressing should be very much appreciable. Again, I remember my wife did a course at Valley View University. When I am dropping her off at the university, I get there, she has to remove all her earrings and the necklace. Yes,
Valley View University. You can't enter Valley View University with a earring or the necklace as a student.
Yeah, so you see, that student is clearly being manhandled over there.
Yes.
See,
No, I don't agree with this.
No, with this
act,
with this act, no.
Yes.
I mean, nobody.
But when you look at her, though, I don't see what's indecent about the way the flip flops. Right, okay,
yes.
all right. No, as for the hair, you can't fault her for that. I mean, it's just.
So that's what I'm saying. In private universities,
let's hear about that.
In private universities, they are able to enforce this. And we don't hear anything. Yes, you can't enter with
he was
necklace.
just talking about that.
Yes, I drop my wife there. She will remove everything and put it in the car. So when I come and to pick her, then she put them on again. She did some course in Kumasi campus. You understand? So I think UPSA, this form of harassment is condemnable. I don't think it's appropriate for them to be handling them like this. From the entrance, get someone to be screening and conscientize them, let them understand that these are the protocols and they can read from the handbook and see how they are supposed to dress so that when they are entering, you can tell them that this is the handbook. You can even read it to them nicely. You get someone to read it to them that these are the things that has been spelled out in it. Yes, I'm saying that just to really tell the person that this is what you have flouted, so you can go back and dress up and come back again. I think that is better than dragging them out
I want
of
to
there.
speak specially to the Vice Chancellor. He's a very good friend. I mean, he's been a student leader. He used to be our Get Fund rep for 4 years, from 2008 all the way to...
Who is the Vice Chancellor now?
Kweku Mensah.
Oh, okay.
Professor Kweku Mensah. He's a very good friend. He understands students. So I just want to call on him to exercise some restraints. Let this be done at the entrance, and then we don't find this chaos, happening and all that. Before people, So when I was Nook's president, he was my Get Fund. So before this spills over, because one of the things you don't want is people going to court. And if they go to court, the university may be hot because, to be honest with you, the manhandling part, they may be hot for it.
And once it's captured on camera, the world locks in on the conversation, and it's not a good look. So, I mean, after months of back and forth, looks like the EC is finally ready to conclude on the Aboagye North constituency elections. And now they're saying we have to rerun elections in 19 polling stations. And this is coming after several attempts to, collate. And we know that the dispute is centered on 37 pink sheets. And this is the cause of the problem now. The NDC don't have any comms yet. If they do, I haven't heard them speak up yet. The NPP, however, are saying that this is not acceptable. Haruna Mohammed said it was bogus on the Pulse yesterday. You have also said you're calling it a misnomer. So it's time for us to understand exactly what you have against this, considering that in this 9th Parliament, it is the only constituency without representation. And I think that the quicker we do this, the better. Otherwise, we are creating another Saul situation again. So, because you are the neutral one, Nana Osapon, I want to hear from you first. What do you make of this? Or you want to break the tie after we've heard from the two parties?
No, but it's okay.
Yeah, let's hear you out.
I have said it on a number of platforms, including Joy News, that the EC did not do Ghanaians any good. I think that there are processes that every election goes through. They had the procedure, the legal procedure to go through it, to conduct the elections, and to have declared the results there and then. When the issues started coming up, they had an opportunity to resolve it even before it escalated. So if the Electoral Commission had actually wanted to resolve this matter, they would have done it long ago. Personally, I think that it is because they have already in their minds as a commission, and they would debate this. They had already actually declared to themselves their own winner of the seat. They were finding it difficult to resolve the issue.
You don't have facts to back that claim, that they want to, declare their own winner.
That is their own problem. But you see, sweetie, 19 polling stations. How did we get here? Before, it was 3 polling stations. Now, it's 19 polling stations. EC came out and said that they have all the data, they have all the numbers, and they can easily do the collation and then declare a winner. They come back again, and it is like they are departing from their own submissions. Yesterday, somebody put on his Facebook that for them to rerun 19 polling stations, then it will be proper for them to rerun the entire constituency.
Yeah.
You understand me? Because if yesterday we were supposed to deal with 3 polling stations, and today we are supposed to deal with 19 polling stations, we do not want a situation where after dealing with the 19 polling stations, there will be another suit in court that will put an injunction on whoever is elected. Then why don't we just cancel the entire electoral process that occurred in Aboagye and then go in for a fresh elections in that constituency?
But you see, there's the reason why the figure moved from 3 to 19. Originally, I think it was the NPP who submitted 37, or the NDC. One party submitted 37, the other said it was 34. So it was the dispute on those 3 remaining polling stations. However, I listened to Mr. Tete explain that although the results have been scanned from those 19 polling stations, the presiding officers responsible had not verified the forms. And so for clarity, for no one to come and say the EC,
which forms?
The 19 pink sheets from those 19, the presiding officers, they are the ones who said they haven't verified, although they were scanned, the copies were scanned. So that's why they need to just rerun all those 19.
Employees of the Electoral Commission.
Yeah.
They are the representative of the commissioner. They are responsible for the elections at those places. As I said, they know you. There is this common phrase that those who vote, they vote. And those who count, they count. There is a reason why the NDC and the NPP and all independent presidential candidates would have representatives at the polling stations. There is a reason why they would all have copies of those sheets. There is a reason why the EC also has or keeps a copy.
Okay.
You understand me? So what happened to the copies the EC's officials were holding? Comparing them to the copies of those same sheets that were being handled by the agents of the various candidates' representatives.
Okay, so hold on for me. Wanda, looks like your party submitted 37 pink sheets, right? Which you said was valid.
Didn't submit. We
you
submitted.
did 37.
Yes,
so Wanda did 34.
Everything.
Okay, so your party did 34. So at this point in the process, I mean, we've tried, there were concerns about security, we've tried to collate, it didn't work out. Eventually, we are here now. And instead of those 3 polling stations, we are doing all 19 that were contested. How do you feel about that? And also, do you have a problem with the rerun of these 19
the
polling
NDC
stations?
as a party have always maintained the sanctity or the sanity of these elections must be free, fair, and open to all. In the lead up to all these issues, first of all, Aboagye North has only 281 branch or polling stations, what to call it. At the end of the poll, 62 of those were in contention. The original number was 62, uncollated. Now, out of the 62, both parties have been able to agree on some, and it was left with 37 in contention. They said 37, we said 34.
You said 34, yeah.
That's the three difference has been resolved. We've left that stage now. So we agree that it's 37. Now, out of the 37, the EC, between the EC, the MPP, and then the NDC, we have agreed that some of the pictures that have arrived, even though scanned, were originals. Because what they have is what we had. Then it's left with a number of...
How many of those? Out of
the 37, 18.
Okay.
18 have been guaranteed to be okay.
Yeah.
Both parties have agreed. Yeah. NDC, MPP, and our polling agents. Now the 19 left, what is happening is that there are no originals. The original pink sheets are not available.
Yeah.
Now the MPP, in some instances, have scanned copies, which we don't have. We also have scanned copies of some of them, and they don't have. So the EC said, well, instead of saying that, okay, the MPP has this, so we approve it, you have this, we approve it. No, all of them is contentious because we don't have the original pink sheet. And the EC can only declare the results based on the original pink sheet, not the scanned copies. We all know that scanned copies can be doctored, which is what the EC is standing on. So now we have decided, I mean, the EC has decided, we as EC, I'm talking for the EC, have decided that they will run the elections in 19 of those places. 19 of those places out of 281 is only 6.7% of the total vote. And that vote, the number of votes there is significant enough to turn the tide in whichever way. So I don't know what the MPP may be afraid of. We are not afraid. So you are down
for the rerun?
No, we don't have a problem. Okay. We have stated that from the word go. That if it is contentious, if you think that you have not collated, let's go for a rerun of those polling stations.
How about what Nanaya was saying?
What did he say?
Rerun the entire constituency election.
On what basis?
On the basis that you can't seem to agree whether or not...
You can't even find original sheets, pink sheets for 19 constituencies.
No, and I'm saying
so we would also throw a doubt to those ones that you already have.
No. You see, there is only a fight when there is contention. The two parties have agreed that out of the 281, only 62 was in contention. And that 62 have been drilled down to 37. And out of the 37 again, the two parties have agreed that 19 was in contention. And the 19 is what they claim that, no, they are not going to agree for the 19 to be done. Rather, they prefer that was done in the 4 or the 3 difference that we had. And we say we don't have a problem. However, we are not going to work with your scanned copies. Neither are we expecting you to work with our scanned copies. We don't trust each other. So let's go for those areas to be re-elected. Why? Is anybody so sure of the outcome of the elections? Or is the MPP so sure that they will lose the elections? I know why they are afraid that they will lose that seat. One is because there's a stellar performance of this administration for the first 6 months. The government is enjoying so much goodwill. So even if they had won those areas, their fear is that if we go back today, they will lose it. And that's the fact, they will lose it.
Is that a fact?
I can advise them. They can stay out of the elections. It's not a problem. You can stay out.
Let's hear
so
that.
There have been elections in the past that we have stayed out.
First of all, do you have different figures in terms of the number of polling stations under contention? He says it's 19. That's agreed, right? You have 19 polling stations that have been contested.
So the
results have been contested.
He is speaking to the press release yesterday. He is not speaking to the real facts. The facts are, you see, this is Electoral Commission, press release from Electoral Commission, and it's dated 17th of January 2025, and it's signed by Samuel Tete. And in the press release, this is what he said. The collation of polling station results for Akim North took place on the 8th of January 2025 at the old headquarters of the Electoral Commission. However, the exercise was not complete because 3 out of the 281 polling stations were outstanding. This is as of January. You can read it. Again, let your producers produce the transcribed portion of what Bosman Asari said in Parliament. He mentioned it. He brought chronology of events from the 62 down to 3. I have it here, online. You published it. My Joy Online published it when he said they don't need a rerun. When Dafiamepo asked him whether there will be a rerun, he said there is no need for a rerun. They can do 3. They need police. They need the parliament to assist so that they can call on the police to give them security to be able to recollect the rest of the 3 because they have it. And today, is it the case that when Asiedu Ketia sat on this platform and told Evans Mensah that they will reset the EC and remove the 3 of them, so they are doing the backtrack? You spoke 2 weeks ago in Parliament. Bosman Asari addressed the people of this country in Parliament and said it's left with 3 outstanding. Today you are coming with 19 from where?
You yourself have just said that you have some scanned copies without originals, and the NDC also has some scanned copies. They can't produce the original. And those amount to 19 pink sheets, 19 polling stations.
We have every pink sheet across the country.
I understand that this is what the deputy EC saying. But the question is...
So how do you reconcile what Samuel Tete said?
That's what we're trying to do.
In January. Then with him and what Bosman Asari said in Parliament just 2 weeks ago, with this shambolic press conference to tell us that we are running 19 polling stations. How did you arrive at 19? Because in Parliament, Bosman Asare gave chronology of events to the extent that he said there were 4 outstanding. Let me quote from one of the things that he said. On January 15, 2021, you noted that the commission formally requested security from Ghana Police Service and National Election Commission Task Force to complete the collation. However, he noted that the press release from the police on January 17 citing inadequate security. So if really police had given them security at that time, they will have recollated all the 3.
Will you accept the scanned copies from the NDC without the originals that they can't give you?
We have a scanned...
No, what they are saying aside.
They don't even have it.
Accept? No, but they have some scanned copies without originals.
The NDC don't have scanned copies.
We are
they did not produce. We have been doing this thing.
We are refusing to ask one fundamental question.
Go ahead.
If NDC has, NPP has, or they do not have, where are the copies of that of the EC?
You see, what happened was that the NDC went... I'm coming. The NDC went and bent... They went and bent the papers over this. You did that.
Oh, please don't.
You did that at Frontier North. You did it at Frontier North.
Let's stick to the facts as far as we know it, okay? We have not seen or heard of NDC banning any results.
Okay, so listen. The 4th paragraph of the press release by Tete, he said, it is instructive to note that the supporters were led by Greater Accra Regional Organizer of the NDC, and our staff also identified 2 men in military uniform without names in the company of the supporters. They went and disrupted the process because they didn't want us to do the collation. The reason the MPP is saying that we have all the pink sheets is that I worked for the presidential results in the Asawase constituency. The moment you finish, before the results are sent to the collation center, our polling agents will have to come to our hotel with the photocopy of it so that we scan and send. So even if you burn everything, we have everything. That is the reason we said all the testimony will have it. Again, when you read the transcription of what Bosman Asare said in Parliament, he mentioned that at any point in time, NPP will bring about 5. They sit down. They all agree because the EC, he is telling me that, well, the scan copy are not original. They have some features on every pink sheet to show that indeed they are original or not. That is the reason when they come. You saw it on TV, you were covering it. So when they come, they will look at it, then they will look at the features, then they will accept it. They did that with the Sawam in the jury. They did that with almost all the constituencies that the NDC.
I'm following your arguments, but I need to ask you.
Yes.
What do you intend to do about the situation? Because you
we will
obviously
have
cannot
a press conference this morning, and we will make sure that we use all legitimate means to protect the people of the vote of the people of Ablekumanov. They voted for a PFRE, and the EC attested to that fact. The EC went to Parliament and said it per the press release that I have read again. And even they requested Parliament to help with the national security task force.
But what are you afraid of? I mean, if you won, if the people voted for Ekwe-Free,
yes,
and we are rerunning these 19 polling stations, if they voted for it, they'll vote for it again, no?
So then,
no, it's a question on the minds of many people.
Then you should allow us to rerun Ghana again and see if Mahama will win again. You understand? So it's not about rerun. The elections date was on the 7th of December.
Okay.
On the 7th of December, the good people of Ablekuma North went and voted. You see, the problem with the NDC is that after our concession defeat, concession of the
wrap
defeat,
your thoughts on this
after the concession of the defeat, they challenged 9 constituencies, went and bent coalition centers and so on. But when it happened, it is only one that was declared for them, Domi Kwabenya, and even Domi Kwabenya, it was not really collated because Michael Kwe came and conceded defeat. And that was the reason when they said they were going to rerun 2 police stations. They didn't run.
So Michael Cook considered
yes. It's the reason EC said they wanted to do
my producer said he's put together, or he's brought us that video from Parliament when Bosman Asare was addressing our legislators. Let's take a listen and come back.
And also in consonance with Regulation 36 of CI 127, where you exercise your mandate to conduct, organize, and supervise public elections, and same got disrupted by no fault of the commission, you have the power to call for a rerun or reorganize that particular public elections. You agree with me?
Is that the question?
Yes, Deputy Commissioner, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. In as much as I agree with...
Yes or no, then you can explain.
No, it's not yes or no. In as much we...
Hold on. Honorable Dafiamapo. Honorable Dafiamapo. Honorable Dafiamapo. Honorable Nelson Dafiamapo. Honorable member, please. Honorable member, please, you ask the question. You don't have the right to direct how the question be answered. So just ask the question, and the officer, in this case, the deputy chairman, deputy commissioner, will respond. So please don't direct the way you should answer the questions. So, deputy, you may go on to answer the question.
Chairman, thank you. I was going to make the point that if in the wisdom of the commission there should be a rerun, the commission would do that. But in the Ablekuma instance, the evidence of the results, we had the same instance in Dobikwa Benya. We even went to the extent of collecting the tally cards from the agents of the parties. So Ablekuma, we haven't reached the point where the commission will say we don't have the results. So when we try and we cannot get the results, that's when we will resort. So the rerun will be a last option. So once we get to that point, we will do. But as we speak now, the commission is ready to proceed with the collation. We just need the...
About the Fiamapo. Nelson, may you shift to other. Charlie, check your mic and let me see. Check your mic and let me see.
Sabotage.
Speaker, Mr. Chairman, the Deputy Commissioner misunderstood my question. Please. He misunderstood my question. My question was not to ask him to rerun the Ablekuma elections, parliamentary elections. I situate my question within the law and to ask him whether the commission has the power that where they organize any public election and it got disrupted, whether they have no power to order for a rerun. That's why I said yes or no, then he could explain. And they won't permit me. So he proceeded to speak about Ablekuma North. That was not the gravamen of my question. So can he go on to answer that question? Yes. I want to hear him answer that question. The last question. No, it's not even about leader.
Honorable member, just listen to me, please. Go on and answer. Ask the question.
Mr. Chairman, please. I've spent some time in this house, and I know when leadership on the other side, when they are doing this, I know how they do it. Mr. Speaker, my question is this. The Electoral Commission has just told us that upon the conclusion of the elections in Ablekuma North in respect of the parliamentary elections, they could not account for some extent that they had to accept 25 scanned carbon copies from the MPP. To the extent that the Electoral Commission says that they have accepted scanned carbon copies from the New Patriotic Party. Mr. Speaker, this fact is not supported in the laws that govern the organization of our public elections. It does not. Speaker, let me read CI 127 in respect of
Honorable
Regulation 43.
Can you ask the question?
Speaker,
You've laid the foundation.
I am laying the foundation to make a point. It's supplementary. I have been here. Your supplementaries were like 10 minutes just to build it.
Honorable, go ahead. And
Mr. Speaker, Regulation 43 is head noted Declaration and Publication of Parliamentary Election Results. 43.1, subject to Regulation 42, immediately after the results of the poll for all the polling stations in the constituency of the returning officer, have been given to the returning officer, and the returning officer shall, in the presence of the candidates or the representative of the candidate, or no more than 2 counting agents appointed by each candidate, assemble the results from the polling stations without recounting the ballots in the ballot boxes, except where there is a challenge by a candidate or a counting agent in respect of a specific ballot box. B, fill the parliamentary election results summary sheet as set out in Form 1D of the schedule. Speaker, the procedure provided for declaring the parliamentary results as set out in Regulation 43 of CI 127 is very clear. It's very clear.
So what is the question,
So
please?
the question is that where you have pink sheets of the Electoral Commission tainted, they cannot be accepting any other electoral pink sheets from any other political party. Speaker,
Honorable member.
Speaker, please. That the story. Listen, please.
Honorable Dafiamepo.
Speaker,
please ask the question.
Chairman, please. I am putting it to him that listen to the question. I am putting it to him. You are a layman, so you will appreciate it. Putting it to him by way of question. Mr. Speaker, I am putting it to the Electoral Commissioner that the story that they took scanned carbon copies in the absence of the officially designated pink sheets from the Electoral Commission is irregular in terms of Regulation 43. And therefore, it has no basis to be counted and to be factored into the declaration of the results.
Honorable Dafiamapo.
I put that to him.
So is it a statement or a question?
Speaker, in other words, what I'm saying is that the story he has told us breached Regulation 43 of CI 127. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm putting it.
Well, Honorable Deputy Commissioner, did you get all what he said?
I'll try and respond to.
Okay, answer the
Mr.
question.
Chairman, I think one of the things we need to state is that from the Commission standpoint, the country has made a lot of progress when it comes to electoral democracy. And the EC is mandated to do everything, whatever is necessary.
With all due respect, he should answer the question that he can explain his answers. Yes, I agree, then you explain. No, I disagree, then you
Honorable
explain.
member. Honorable member.
He cannot start with a story.
Honorable member.
Please.
Honorable Dafiamapo. In asking the question, you went round before asking the question. If he is also responding the question in such a way that you and everybody here can understand, please allow him to answer the question.
Mr. Chairman, I take strong exception to the phrase that went round. I quoted the law.
Well, I
quoted the law. No. I quoted the law to lay a foundation to suggest strongly that the story that they had to borrow scanned carbon copies from the NPP was contrary to the provision in Regulation 43 of CI 127. That is what I put to him.
So, leader, you've asked the question. Just allow the Deputy Commissioner to answer.
Mr. Chairman, in my response, I indicated that when one of the parties brought the scanned copies, it was endorsed by the agents of the other parties. Let me also say that the Commission disagrees with the question because the Commission is mandated to ensure the integrity of the process. And as an institution, we are very careful. We don't do anything to set a bad precedent, which will go a long way to undermine the country's democracy. So in Domikwa Benya, when we had to go beyond our reach, to even reach out to agents of political parties to bring tally cards, we did that. So what we are basically saying is that we need the support of the House so that we can complete the process, because we think that it is unfair that the people of Ablekumanov don't have a representation in this August House. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable.
Well, so that's how that unfolded in Parliament. And gentlemen, you have 1 minute each to conclude your thoughts on this matter. Clearly, the NDC has a point, the NPP has a point, and the Electoral Commission is the one who needs to bring clarity to this matter. In their way, they are saying that in 8 days, they want to rerun 19 polling stations. You've already said that you're going to have a press conference and vehemently opposed to this. But 1 minute, conclude on this for me.
So, cedi, the EC from the 2nd of February had been consistently writing to the Ghana police and told them that, come, give us the protection so that we can conclude the last 3. On the 28th March, they did the same. On April 10, still the security were giving them, they were tossing them. Then on 2nd May, when the security gave an indication of the date to do it, then they said the IGP was visiting Boku. So that cannot happen. So if really, within this period, they had given them the audience and the security, you have concluded it. So why will you tell us now that you're doing this? I am seeing 2 things. It is either they got swayed by the in-depth interview by Asiodun Ketia on this platform to say that he will reset the 3 officials, or they have been compromised. Because you cannot go and sit on
that's
TV,
your time. That's your time.
address Ghana, and tell us that it's left to 3. Now
we look forward to your press conference. What time? What time is the press
10 o'clock. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. So Justin Kodua Frimpong will address the nation.
All right, thank you. Wanda, conclude for me.
Nobody is coming for that press conference. Forget it.
You're using your time to...
It's now intriguing to hear from the MPP say that the EC can be compromised. Is that your point?
Oh, but when you check what...
so they can be compromised.
The chronology
the EC can be compromised.
I think what the point you're trying to make is clear. We get your point.
The EC can be compromised. Is that what you mean? They are subject to threats.
I posed 2 rhetoric questions.
And they will abide.
2 rhetoric questions.
No, it's very interesting to know that.
I said it
6
is
months after office, you now know that the EC can be manipulated. And I'm happy that you are joining the call for a reset. I'm happy. We are very happy that the MPP is joining a call for the reset of this country and putting it on the right footings. But the point must be made that the EC has the mandate to ensure the sanctity of elections. And I said that earlier. And one of the things the EC want to do in this particular election as a good sign is that if you have areas that are contentious, some are contentious for the NPP, some are contentious for the NDC, and the EC itself does not have the original copies of the pink sheet, what do? The neutral arbiter says, let's go and rerun the elections in those places, and you are scared. You are scared because you are being haunted by the...
Why are you afraid of so you are open,
it's also
ready
against
for the rerun.
There is no contention on the other ones.
Nana Asapon, please, your final word on this matter.
I've always stated, even on this platform, the inconsistencies of the Electoral Commission. One reason why, personally, I think that the 3 of them should go. Now you listen to this. Sometimes we need to analyze the statements they have made. We all agree on this table that it was 37 that was in contention. And we all agree that the 37 pink sheets per the statement issued by the EC. And I read in just 30 seconds. 2 things were brought up when they met with the NDC and the NPP. Number 1, the NDC held the view that the elections should be rerun in 37 polling stations because scanned pink sheets from 37 polling stations which were used to collate the results were provided by the NPP. 2, The MPP was of the view that the results from the 3 outstanding polling stations be collated and winner declared, since the NDC agents had verified and confirmed the scanned polling station results. Now, the last paragraph I would want to read is this. It is important for the public to understand that the issue in contention has to do with the fact that 37 pink sheets provided by the MPP and used to collate the results were scanned copies.
Yes.
So it means that they are not even able to trust.
MPP, you want to trust MPP?
No, but how did they arrive at the 3? They said they arrived at the 3 because NDC also agreed.
You want to trust MPP?
Let's go.
They are not able to trust
MPP.
And so if indeed trust is one of the key elements when it comes to election processes, then why not? Let's write it off.
Okay.
Rerun those polling stations. But I would have been happier. I would have been happier if the entire constituency.
The way you said we reject reminds me of what former President Kufuor said.
On another platform, myself and you disagreed with me that the 3 EC officials, commissioners, should not be.
From what they are doing right now.
No.
I mean, in summary, gentlemen, in summary, wow, we look forward to your press conference.
Yes.
Which press conference?
You have no qualms.
You
have no qualms.
No, I look forward
and you are also saying that the EC has lost the trust.
No, after the press conference, we will take any legitimate means.
Well, yesterday was a big day, was it not?
Yes.
From slogan to action. 24-hour economy plus launched.
Yes.
We're looking at some $4 billion from private sector participation. The country said we would make up some 10%. The question of where it's coming from, the question of whether this is overpromising and in the future might underdeliver. What are your issues, your concerns? Where do you think is worthy of commendation? Where do you think you want to criticize in terms of how far we've come with this 24-hour economy policy plus?
You're starting with me.
I'm starting with you.
Right. So when the president made the promise, I remember I saw my brother and all the NDC communicators talking about 133, Formula 133. There were adverts that was played here on Joy News, Formula 133, where one job will be really, 3 people will do one job. On the seat that you sit, you move, someone will come for 8 hours and so on. Yesterday, we're all hoping that because it did not feature in the budget, Atufosin told us that they are now formulating a policy document to guard it so that at least we'll be able to know the way forward and timelines and so on. Unfortunately, after the lunch up to this morning, I don't know if my brother has it. There is no policy document attached to it. They did not release any document. They only talked about a subject to criticism. That was all we heard. But let's go back to their manifesto, page 23 of the NDC manifesto. They promised that they will give jobs, enhance productivity, and improve export. These are the 3 things that they think they will be able to do. They said they will create the enabling environment for businesses to also open up so that they can hook up. Now, when you check on the same page 23, they said the first thing they will do is that they will enhance security because you cannot do 24-hour economy without the security. They will also provide cheap and reliable electricity. Then they will team up with Exim Bank to give loans to businesses that will want to expand. Then they will enhance productivity within the public sector. This is in their manifesto, page 23. Now let's pick the first item, cheap and reliable electricity. Today, 6 months, the policy document is still not ready. But do we have cheap and reliable electricity? No, because people still experience doomsday, so there's no reliability. Again, in the last 6 months, they have increased electricity by 17.1%. So clearly, there is no enabling environment for businesses to hook up with on the 24-hour economy. That is 1. 2 is that we were talking about inflation and the macroeconomic indicators. You said you team up and get loans that are favorable to banks. Today, policy rate, you have tightened policy rate so that you will be able to control inflation. You've controlled the inflation, it's around 13.5%, which is not reflective because policy rate is 28%. So if any company, Casaprec or any company will want to really hook on, they cannot because they do not have the space to even borrow at a cheaper as you promised. So what I saw yesterday, even when I listened to the president, I did not hear any one of them saying that the 133 jobs are guaranteed. Again, we do not also have the timeline of its materializing. We do not know at the end of this year how many people will be employed. We have not seen that in the entire presentation. Again, we do not know its contribution to GDP. That has also not been spelled out. What I see,
just to give you 1.7 million quality jobs. That's 2 million hectares of land to be cultivated.
So, but there were no timelines. You have been given 4 years.
All right.
Within the next 4 years, how will we be able to? What I have seen is that it is the one district, one factory, because from all the presentation from the president and the Gusitano and so on, you could tell that is the one district, one factory that we started that they want to expand, but they feel shy to really say that this is what they are doing, because there is no indication of where they said they will enhance productivity, they will make sure that at least they will have eco parks and so on. These are the things that the one district, one factory document. We have a document for the one district, one factory, which Nana can even produce because he was at the trade ministry for 7 years. So he knows all these things.
So these are genuine concerns that your party has.
Exactly. So we don't see
the implementation
the feasibility.
All right. And I mean, if someone listens pause for me. If someone listens to Awal's argument, they might be convinced that indeed it's not feasible. So how do you counter this argument?
The MPP, we have always maintained that the MPP won't be the moral scope within which we operate this country. If for nothing at all, the MPP in the last 4 years, 8 years, taught Ghanaians how not to rule. It's a misrule. They have failed as a government. So you are now providing advice to the NDC. Is that significant
at this point?
Yeah, very significant.
Is it significant for a party in opposition?
I'm going to tell you why. One, this is a government that claimed that they were doing one district, one factory. Do you have any factory in your district? Where is the factory? In your own district. Okay, here. This place, where are we? We are in, where are we? Where is this place? This is
Ablekuma Central or
Ablekuma Central. Where is the factory in Ablekuma Central here? Show me. You promised one district, one factory, one constituency, 1 million. Where are they?Here are those? 8 years in government. So we are not the kind.
I'll show you if you will ask me.
No, we are not the kind.
You know, I was hoping that his argument, you would actually rebut his argument so that our audience will not leave.
Ghanaians know what you are presenting.
We listen to you. You're calling like my father used to call me. Let's go.
You see, the messenger is as good as the message.
Yeah.
So for MPP to be the one to be poo-pooing what the NDC is doing, it's shambolic. It's reckless to say it. And now let me tell you what is in that document. Number one, the NDC's promise of a 24-hour economy is a promise to boost productivity. That's one. You chose to listen to 133. In fact, 133 means that the economy runs around the clock. It means that we don't go to sleep. It means that you can wake up in wherever you are in this country, if the 24-hour economy is operating in that place, and still go about your life.
But it was talk
we
about
have all lived abroad. We have all lived abroad. In fact, you don't even go far. Go to Tema, live in Ashama and all that. You see buses running around this country in the morning as early as 4 a.m. They are picking workers to work. They are coming back at 2 in the afternoon. Another set is going, and they are coming back at 10 p.m. I have been a hotel manager for many years. And even the hotels in this country run around that. And the business is about productivity. It is not just the 3-man shift. It's about productivity, number one. In any case, they have failed when they told us they were doing productivity over taxation. Where is the productivity? What did we get in the end? So that is a flawed argument, and the NDC
response to the energy situation.
No, number two, job creation. It is the functioning of the economy, the productivity that brings the job creations. So government is focused on how do we increase productivity for the private sector? How do we support them? So electricity is one, or you talk about the utilities is one. 2, land tenure system in this country is a very huge problem. Government in acquiring those hectares of land is to reduce the encumbrances that comes with land acquisition in this country and development. Number 3, we're talking about development of industrial parks, which we did even in our first tenure. If you go to the Dawa Industrial Park, it's been there for 8 years. This government did nothing about it. Even the free zones was created by the NDC government under Rawlings. What did they do about it? The industrial areas you have, the light industrial, North industrial area here, Accra industrial areas, what did they do about it? So it is not the case. We have a track record of delivering on our promise. Now let's go back to the issue of electricity. Under their tenure, when they signed the IMF agreement, after they had collapsed the economy, one of the things they did was that to sign with the IMF so that there is quarterly review of utility tariffs. True of us, quarterly review of the electricity tariff. And all throughout the tenure they were in government, it was always about increment.
No, that's not correct. Last year, around this time, we reduced by 3%.
Under COVID, when you decided to give free electricity, we paid for it later. We paid for it. Today we're still paying COVID levy.
For 3 years.
True of us. You introduced COVID levy deposit. I'm coming. No, let me go ahead. So
you have to be wrapping up.
In the issue of electricity, government has just announced the phase 2 of the Ghana Gas project. What do you think that was for? The Ghana Gas project is to feed our power plants. All our power plants, the thermal plants that you have, the Sonar Sogli, the TTP, the TAPCO, all of them are running on either light crude or gas. And one of the things government wants to do is that once that gas plants comes on board, electricity is cheaper. Now, number 2, they have also left so much debt in the energy sector.
Are you addressing what the president said yesterday?
Of course.
Are you telling people what you meant by the 24-hour economy?
You have about 30 seconds more. Please
so these are things being done. When government says we are spending 4 billion in implementing the 24-hour economy, it is to take care of some of these things.
Within which period?
And we are saying that let the private sector come on board. We create the environment. Today you can walk into the free zones board environment in Tema, and you get a place to start your factory.
All right.
You don't need to worry about that. So we are creating the enabling environment for the private sector to take off. And once the private sector takes off, all of this is
what you've said is that you are still creating that enabling environment.
Of course.
And he's saying that you ought to have done that before you even launch this, so that there's a clear direction on how to go.
And borrowing.
Of all the things that they have promised, if they had done that in government, today Ghana...
We didn't promise 24-hour economy.
We didn't promise 24-hour economy. Both sides. One person is saying that it doesn't look feasible because they promised 3 shift systems. They're not seeing that happen. They promised cheap electricity. They're not seeing that happen. There are so many infrastructure challenges. What do you say?
You see,
the one district, one factory.
When you are building an industry, it is not like going into a supermarket to go purchase tomato fruits and biscuits and other groceries. It is built time. Now, they should understand that for the government to have even come out yesterday to be able to give us a catalog of the various sectors and how they would go about it is key when it comes to building an industry. One district, one factory. He asked a very funny question about whether or not there was a factory here. Now, it was not the government that was going to build factories. The government was going to liaise with the private sector. And if the district's assemblies were able to put up proposals, then trade would assist them, give them the technical support to be able to build the factories that they needed to build. Additionally, 70% or so of the raw materials that were supposed to be used in feeding the industry or the factory that you are building in your area should come from within that district. And so that is why probably you will not find factories in almost all the districts. But you can go into one district and find about 2 or 3. So that one, you should understand that. But sweetie, moving forward, I believe that what the government ought to do is to be able to explain to Ghanaians, all right, the document that was read by His Excellency the President yesterday. Number one, he talked about agriculture, which is very key when you are building industries. You need that agricultural productivity all right, to be able to feed your industries. Number two, we are talking about financing. You need money. I think it was explained, just even as in the One District, One Factory we did. There are preferred financial institutions that had interest. Yeah. We have direct foreign investments that have interest. Now, government's ability to be able to create that enabling and that friendly monetary environment is very important. So you look at inflation.
You think that it's still work in progress.
You look at the forex, all right, that is and the cedi that is stabilizing. You look at the bank rate that has been stabilized. Of course, I was talking about the fact that it is about 35% now, which I have my own interpretations.
Around 28, I think, not 35. Yeah.
But he mentioned 35, and that was why I'm doubting that. And if we have all of these disciplined monetary policies and stuff that are going on, it means that it is going to be able to attract these DFIs.
All right. And so Nana, that's our time.
The enabling environment.
I have to do this too.
The enabling environment being created by the government.
You think it's work in progress?
It's key. It would be the bedrock for them to be able to properly implement this 24-hour.
Okay, so we didn't get into the papers, but most of the stories we already discussed, like the 24-hour economy, like Aboagye North EC returning to the polls for those 19 polling stations and all that. That's our time. Those who join us for the news review, Awal Mohammed is from the NPP Communications Directorate.
The government has expanded the
is from the NDC Communications team, and Nanaya Sapong is from the Movements for Change. Thank you so much for for joining us. I just want to remind you again that today the Accra Bar Association Law Week begins, and lawyers are gathering at Obra Sport, Ifwa Sutherland Park, Ashaiman Lorry Park to give free legal advice or services to poor people who need legal aid. But from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Samson Ladiayenene will be leading another group of 40 lawyers to Insawan Prison to assess prisoners who need legal aid but cannot afford it. We are now saying this so that if you or somebody you know falls into that category, you can take advantage of this. It is the Accra Bar Association Law Week, and the lawyers are doing this legal outreach. Thank you for staying. We'll come back soon with our big stories. Please stay with us.
In Ghana's eastern region, lush green mango orchards stretch into the horizon. These trees produce not just fruit, but livelihood, export, and opportunity. Yet, post-harvest losses and supply shortages are threatening the industry's full potential. To change this, the Tree Crop Development Authority is stepping in with a bold new strategy. Chief Executive of TCDA, Dr. Andiose Okra, led a team on a working visit to HPW Fresh and Dry Limited and Bomat Farms, two leading mango processors and exporters in Ghana.
That's the reason why I like coming to the field myself to see what is happening. And I must say I'm impressed, motivated and encouraged coming to HPW to see the level of production, the kind of work they are doing, the number of people engaged, the process in terms of operation and production. So I'm impressed, and I must say that as government and as authority responsible for ensuring that they get the raw materials to work, we will do everything possible in line with the President resetting agenda to ensure we feed the industry. Because looking at the production levels that they are doing, the kind of products they are doing here, and sending some outside, largely their product going outside and depending on Ghanaian products, Ghanaian mangoes. I was amazed what I saw. The production that when we get the mangoes that have come here are all coming from Ghana. And that shows that if we continue to increase production, then there's an industry to pick these raw materials and process them, and then they can send it out. We've seen the number of people engaged here.
Mango production in Ghana runs in 2 seasons, with a peak between April and August and a smaller harvest from November to January. But the irregularity in supply presents major challenges for processors and exporters.
Been in Ghana since 2010 with our factory. Before then, we were exporting, or we were into the export and the purchases of fresh fruit. Now we have the largest drying facility in West Africa with 25 huge dryers installed. Our products are just dried fruits. We take fresh fruits and convert them into dried fruits, which can last for up to 18 months or some even 2 years, depending on the product. Our idea is to make fruit available to all classes of people. Take away all the peeling and the soiling of your hands with wet fruits to still enjoy snacks as fruit snacks in their dry stage. One crop is mangoes, dried mangoes, which makes up 65% of our turnover. Second one is coconuts, dried coconuts and all its derivatives, coconut snacks, coconut oils and other things. And then we have pineapples coming in third. We also work with banana, papaya, passion fruit, any other fruits that we can find in the market. We make mixes and okay, currently we are producing mangoes. Our installed capacity is about 130 tons of fresh fruit a day. That's 130,000 kilograms of mangoes a day. We are working the factory just around 120 tons a day. Well, I'm happy TCDA is here today. We are major stakeholders in the Ghanaian food sector in all the crops that we are dealing with. I believe our daily consumption of 120 tons of fresh mango is a major volume for the Ghanaian food sector. Why I am happy with TCDA is, one, they would have to bring some regularize a few things in the industry. The industry needs help. We as processors and stakeholders have been doing our bit, but it doesn't cut across. So what I want to see TCDA do is to have an oversight of the industry, to take care of the production, or to be involved in the production of fruit by adopting good practices that is done elsewhere. Because Ghana mango is not different from what we have in the sub-region. The only challenge we have with the Ghanaian fruit is, in my opinion, is too expensive. Because we have footprint in the whole sub-region, and the Ghanaian fruit is just expensive. This emanates from things like yield, and also the input cost they have to implement, the input cost they have to apply on the farms, the low yields they get.
To respond.
Well, welcome back to the AM show, and it's now time for us to do our big stories. Now, from slogan to action, President John Mahama touts his flagship 24-hour economy plus as the game changer, with an end game to provide 1.7 million quality jobs and 2 million hectares of land to be cultivated within the water basin, becoming the breadbasket. Now, with government seeking to acquire some $4 billion of private sector funding to achieve its goal, is also the sustainability question for the audacious program. We're here to analyze this program and to see, how it can work for the benefit of Ghana. Joining us today is Dennis Miracles Aboagye. He's aide to former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and also Hamza Saibu Soyini is member of the NDC's communications team. Hamza, I think you are an Esquire, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Hamza Soyini Esquire. Anyway, good morning and welcome, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Okay.
And good morning to my brother and, of course, Sweetie as well, and our cherished viewers out there.
Good morning, Kojo.
Dennis.
We've been.
I'm good, I'm good.
Let's ask Council how he's doing.
Okay. Well, I'm doing very, very well. Thanks to you. At least I have a very good friend in opposition. I'm doing very, very well.
He says he's doing good because he has a very good friend in opposition.
You know, they still have all their money, no matter what you say.
Is there money?
And his expenditure has come down because anyone who goes to him, he says he's in opposition.
You can tell us, is there money in government?
I can't tell you.
But you are saying that
But you have all the money. You engage in all kinds of corrupt deals. You remember? Unless, of course, you want me to start talking about the $51 million you desire to sink in the name of building a cathedral.
When you spend $51 million in building a cathedral,
in digging a hole,
it amounts to corruption.
Yes, because where is the money? You cannot spend $51 million of the taxpayers' money under the guise of building a cathedral,
don't worry.
only to give us a hole. Where is the money?
Well, you are a lawyer. You are very much aware that since you even came to office, there's been an audit on that account. Did you hear anywhere from the audit that some money is missing?
Yes. And that is why it is part of the oral report.
Which part of the audit report?
Which audit report? The audit report you presided over?
Well, gentlemen, let's talk about
the audit report you presided over.
The 24-hour economy, not the Operation Recover All Loot and the fallout from there.
It's important.
I know, but we have an hour to get into very incisive
with
No,
the MPP didn't undertake the audit.
Yeah.
No, I'm asking you a simple question.
Relax.
Let me ask you a simple question. Let me ask you a simple question. I'm going to ask you a simple question. No, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. For the 4 years that you were in power, no, for the 8 years that you were in power.
Afterwards, you answer mine.
They were not doing any audit of your financial transactions by the Auditor General?
They were.
But still, didn't we have consent?
Calm down.
About your activities in government? Were you watching the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament scrutinize the contents of the audit report?
It's fine, but shall we come back to the cathedral? You made a categorical point that some corruption has been undertaken.
A lot of corruption.
No, not a lot. We'll come to the specific.
A lot.
Some $51 million has been corruptly utilized under the National Cathedral. And I am saying that, are you aware that a renowned, reputed global audit firm has undertaken an audit on the National Cathedral? Are you aware of that?
And I'm going to respond.
Are you aware?
Please.
But when you ask me a question, I answer.
You've asked me a question. I want to respond. I said I'm going to respond. Let me respond to you.
Because I have a follow-up.
I'm going to respond with it.
To be fair, Miracles, you cannot be asking all the questions.
No, he asked me.
For him, everyone knows. But I'm going to ask you a simple question. You remember when you remember? I'm going to answer the question. I'm going to answer the question. I'm going to answer it with a question, please.
Are you aware?
I'm going to answer you with a simple question.
It was a yes or no question.
No, why would you determine the way I should answer?
Yes or no? Let's make it simple.
Yes or no?
Earlier you said that it's part of oral, right?
Yes.
And that there's been some finding. What did they find?
Oh, but that is why I'm telling you that it is not for me to communicate that now.
Okay.
The oral report, you know, as a media man, that it has been presented to the Attorney General.
Okay.
And they are looking at the details of that report. And when that is done, the entire matter will be made public, like the Attorney General does. When we were done with the National Service Authority, please.
Don't go to National Service yet.
When we were done with the National Service Authority audit, remember that it was contained in the oral report. The Attorney General decided to organize the press conference.
You come to make an emphatic point that you are put to street proof. You see, you are jumping.
I'm not jumping.
No problem.
You see, that is your problem. That is your problem. Miracles.
Our audience are tuning in to listen to you. So let's not do this. Let's have a proper conversation.
You see, let me respond. Let me respond to you. I'm going to respond to you.
Yes, I'm done.
Yeah.
No, are you done? Are you done?
Let's start.
Are you done? So now, Kojiba, quickly, briefly. Is my brother trying to deny on this platform that even he, as a person, is not having problems with $51 million of the taxpayers'
No, that's not what you said.
Under the name. Yes, why is corruption? Is it not corruption?
Your party are fond of that.
Is it not corruption?
Let's make progress.
Where is the falsehood? Where is the falsehood?
Listen,
is it not the fact?
Dennis,
is it not the fact that you spent $51 million to dig a hole for us? Is that not the fact?
Does that not corruption? You are a lawyer.
It is.
Is that what you were talking about law?
Yes. Unfortunately, you are not. So you don't even understand.
That's what you were talking about.
Should we take a short break?
Did you know that?
Should we take a short break? So Hamza, yesterday, you finally launched the 24-hour economy policy plus, etc. And we want to get your initial reaction to this because arguments are pouring in. Even as of this morning, some members of the opposition and NDC are saying that it doesn't look feasible. But let's reflect on the launch, everything that went into that policy document, all before we listen to Miracles, and then we can get incisive in getting the nitty-gritty out. So your reflections.
I think it is important to state that, like we indicated, many of the things we are bringing to fruition were promises we made in opposition. And one of the cardinal pillars of our 2024 campaigns undoubtedly have to do with a promise to spearhead a 24-hour economy. And it is important for us to put it in perspective, sweetie. You see, even in opposition, we're clear that this is not a policy to be driven holistically by central government. Our responsibility, President Mahama made that point, was to provide the needed environment to be able to partner effectively with the private sector to roll out the 24-hour economic policy. And in sectors that we feel government institutions are also strategically positioned to be able to implement things, we give them the necessary support to do so. And so that is the whole idea behind the 24-hour policy. But you know that for years we are dealing with a man who is a problem solver. He understands the nature of the problems confronting this country, but he's not a man who is committed to quick fixes. We saw it in the way he handled Dumso. He did not organize pastors to go to Akosombo Dam to pray. He was not engaged in giving excuses. He did what he needed to do as president during his first term by investing monumentally in the energy sector with a promise to ending Dumso forever and to laying the foundation for successive governments to be able to build on these investments that he was making. Unfortunately, when he was voted out of office and a new government came, they failed to continue on that tangent. And all what we heard was noise about excess capacity. They did not appreciate that this was a president with a foresight and who knew that annual demand of electricity was in the region of about 10%. And for Ghana to become competitive in terms of even manufacturing and our industrial sectors, there was the need for us to have excess capacity to be able to make up for the needed demands as far as our annual demands were concerned. So that is the kind of leader we are dealing with. And that is the basis or the brain behind this 24-hour economy. He appreciates that if you look at, please, I think I'm now going on to the 24-hour economy proper. Could you, please?
Yeah, but as you do it, I will be coming in. So let me hear you.
Okay, so now we all agree as a country that when it comes to our productive sectors, especially agriculture and industry, it is difficult for us to connect it with even job creation. If you look at our employment elasticity of Ghana's employment elasticity when it comes to our employment opportunities in terms of our GDP growth, I think in the 1990s, the figure was within the region of about 0.7%, which meant that in maybe any job that is thrown up, about if you throw up 1 million, if GDP grows by about 100%, you were throwing up approximately 7% of jobs. Today, that figure has dwindled to about 0.2%. It means that irrespective of the growth in agriculture, irrespective of the growth in industry, irrespective of the growth in the mining sector, it does not reflect in terms of job creation. There's the need for us to solve that fundamental problem. Also, if you look at our foreign exchange problems, it is largely influenced by the fact that we are unable to strategically position our country in terms of our productive sectors to become export-led. We are largely import-led to the extent that commodities that we can produce internally, we export them. These are problems that not the only NDC is aware of. Even the New Patriotic Party and other political parties have always complained about these issues. So we feel that the time has come for us to lead a holistic program intended to lay the foundation for successive governments to continue to build upon. So that is the whole concept of the 24-hour economy.
So it means that the 24-hour economy will be built on a certain foundation, right?
Absolutely.
And that foundation has been laid.
The foundation has been laid. And that is why we have said that I think it is anchored around 3 pillars. First, that has to do with production, and our focus largely is going to be on agriculture. Especially, we are bringing on board policies intended to at least create some incentives for that sector. Those engaged in cereals, there's the need for us to take advantage of our competitive potential when it comes to that sector. And so government will be at least reducing taxes in that regard. In some cases, import duties for machinery into the country that are geared towards those sectors. There will be no import duties on such machineries. Yes, absolutely.
And
that is the whole idea.
It won't be just saying it.
No, it wouldn't just be so, because we are the authority, when it is eventually passed by Parliament, would be mandated to drive these policies. So they will identify those industrial sectors in terms of agriculture production, and companies would have to apply for these incentives to be rolled out. Also in the logistics sector, we understand that irrespective of how well you do in terms of expanding your production, one of the bottlenecks facing this country has to do with logistics, how to transport even produce that we get either from our farmlands or our fisheries. There's the need for us to invest heavily in that logistical drive. So that is one important plank, and which is the second pillar of the 24-hour economy. So it's holistic. We are looking at a system where we can connect the various sectors together. And that is why we also have what we call the Connect 24. And I believe from where I sit, if you look at the 3 pillars, it is anchored on digitalization. These days, it is easier to effectively connect your sectors if you rely on digitalization. And so government digitization. So government will do everything within its power, once again, to invest in that sector through the authority. Okay. So it is holistic. And we have prepared the policy framework. And we are only hoping, that is why President Mahama said that this must go beyond the NDC and MPP rivalries. We appreciate. And we are taking useful lessons from the failures of the One District, One Factory program. No doubt, a novel idea that was proposed by the MPP in opposition. But unfortunately, they had challenges in terms of implementation. We have learned useful lessons from that particular experience.
So, and you know energy will play a critical role in all of this. What has been done in that area?
Again, if you read the document, it is very holistic. Government is already stepping up efforts to invest in the energy sector. It is not strange. It is not surprising that about 2-3 weeks ago, even the Minister of Education set up another committee that was mandated to drive the building of the second gas processing plant for Ghana, intended to cut costs as far as our energy demand is concerned, and also increase capacity. So there are ways we are investing in that sector as far as energy is concerned. So we know, we anticipate this. That is why we are saying that we are hoping to begin to see the full benefits or the benefits of the 24-hour economic policy in about 18 months' time. Because we are doing so being mindful of other investments we are putting up in the energy sector, and not just in the energy sector, even the transportation sector. So it is a holistic program intended to strategically position this country so that our sectors can begin to interact with each other. Okay. And I think that any well-meaning Ghanaian should begin to support this initiative, because even the National Thanksgiving, they had one of the pastors call on His Excellency the President for us to look at the idea of the National Development Planning Commission. This is also another important bedrock of that call. And so I expect our colleagues, especially from the New Patriotic Party, to be very critical of the process, because that is how we can better the entire concept of the 24-hour.
It's a good time to listen to him on the, how they can be critical with the process.
That is very, very important.
Yeah. I mean, even before this 24-hour economy plus was launched, we'd heard concerns coming from Parliament, your side in Parliament, asking for a bill, a policy document, asking for clarity on exactly what they intend to do and how they intend to implement it, asking for infrastructure, logistics, everything, street lights and all that. At this point where they have in fact launched the 24-hour economy plus, how did you assess yesterday's program, the statement from the president and the arguments pouring in since then after?
You know, when I describe this government as a clueless, everlasting, incompetent bunch of arrogant braggarts who have scammed their way to government, every day they prove me right. And it is funny how when they miss the ball, they try to, confidently try to make it look as if they are on track. You see, I read the document in detail, and I went back to go and play almost 15 videos of the NDC and their flag bearer then, the President is President John Mahama, telling the Ghanaian people the number one reason why they should vote for them into government, and explaining to us what the 24-hour economy is. And I look at this and I shake my head. And I simply tell myself that it's too late. There's nothing we can do about it, except for to simply wait and see what happens. Listen, I have always insisted that I will not measure the NDC against our wishes or any other person, but against their own words. The 24-hour economy that the NDC campaigned on and told us they were coming to implement is that when we come to office, we think that Ghana sleeps too early and that we would first of all start with the public sector, where one job will have 3 people doing it. One job. And I'm sure you recall, when they said 133.
Yeah.
In fact, they said that when you go to the Ministry for Local Government, for every row, for every desk that is there, 3 people would now go and fill in that row. And that excited Ghanaians. That is what they said. In fact, when it comes to private sector, some of us always said exactly what it is that they are doing today, and they said, no, we are lying. And that all they intended to do was to go to the industrial area and give them subsidized electricity. And then when they give them that subsidized electricity, they can operate 24 hours and recruit people. And we told them, no, that a 24-hour economy, first of all, cannot be run nationwide. That is fact. Because there is nowhere in the world that 24-hour economy is run nationwide. And that 24-hour economy is simply a demand and supply principle. That in areas where the thing is needed, the private sector or the public sector would have no choice than to adjust and be able to meet that demand. And that you cannot force it onto the economy. The economy must be ready and receptive to a 24-hour economy. They said, no, we are lying. And they said, we didn't know what we were talking about. And that what we were saying is not what they are saying. They went on giving examples that the watches seller at Lakeside Estate, once they come to office, will be able to sell 24 hours. That the organizer on the Techiman Road, and this was explained by their national chairman, once they come to office, will operate 24 hours. That when you go to the Ministry for Food and Agriculture, the director for PPPMB will be 3. The directors will be 3. One will come in the morning, close in the afternoon. Another one will come. Yeah, that's what they said. No, I'm saying that's what they said. They said that's clearly what they said. And we insisted that the 24-hour economy is not a policy on itself, and that it is a series of policies and programs that would bring you an outcome or an output of a likely 24-hour economy. Here we are today. This is where we are. Listen.
There's one angle. I just want to give you one angle to what you're saying.
Please do.
You mentioned that you'd read the policy documents thoroughly. I'm quoting from page 15 of the executive summary of the 24-hour documents we have. And they say, while the name 24-hour economy code may evoke images of shift work or nighttime operations, the program goes beyond that. 24-hour plus is first a program of national mobilization. There's a micro and real sector counterpart to the program of sound macroeconomic management led by the Ministry of Finance. And it goes on and on to talk about selected sectors, starting from strategic value chains. So when you say that it's as if they've missed the ball, and I wrote that down, you said they had missed the ball, they explain that it's not about night shifts.
Yeah, because they are explaining now after they scammed us and came to power.
So when was this document
yesterday.
No, I got this before yesterday.
Yeah, but it was
the same thing.
Yes.
Right.
So I agree. What they have written is actually what it should be.
Okay.
And that is what we kept saying.
So you're following what their rhetoric before they launched this.
That's all.
Let's move on.
No, wait. Okay. We can't move on just like that. You see, the reason why we cannot move on just like that is that people must be held responsible and accountable for things. Because if we just move on, only God knows how many times we are going to move, even with this document it brought. Okay. But don't forget, this is just a policy document. Its implementation is a different ballgame. Are we going to come back 2-3 months later and the day themselves will begin to shift posts? We can't pretend as if that is not what they told us. Listen, these guys went on to talk about chop bars and went to talk about barbers and went to talk about all manner of things. And we kept saying, first of all, you cannot have 24-hour economy in my village in Frano. You know why? Because in Frano is predominantly a cocoa farming area. They go to the farms in the morning, go and farm, which is economically viable, make the money, then they will have to now move it to where you are putting up the industries. So don't let the Enfrano people have a sense and feel that when they vote for you, they are going to be part of a 24-hour economy. Go and play every tape of me commenting on 24-hour economy, even the multimedia here. And I kept saying, tell the people the truth. The truth of the matter is that, indeed, 24-hour economy is a viable outcome of every economy. If you put in the basis like they are doing. However, it is not everywhere that you can run a 24-hour economy. So today, my people in Ayesuano Amfrano have voted for you because you told them that you are going to give them a 24-hour economy. Here they are today. In fact, the president went on now to say that football crowd will be played in the middle of the night. Midnight, he went on, he said it with his mouth, that even football will be played at 1 a.m.
Well, I thought it was discotheque.
No, that is also another example.
Okay, all right. No,
open his mouth, football. The discotheque one is different. As we sit here, we are waiting for Boomerang to reopen. Because the president said it with his mouth. I am saying that the document, as Mr. Gusitano has brought, is actually what you need.
But then it's
to enable even that. Remember, Kojo, even that this doesn't automatically translate into 24-hour economy.
No, yeah.
Because you see, you can build on the industries, you can give them the incentives they will develop and all of that. If at the end of the day, what they are producing is consumed by the people, what they produce within 12 hours is consumed by the people, and there's no market beyond that, they won't automatically go and operate 24 hours. I hope you are getting what I'm saying. So it's like we are telling the people this, and we are doing something else. We could have simply told the people the truth. You can give me an incentive for me to, get cheaper taxes, cheaper electricity and everything. But if I produce 20 boxes of mango fruit juice, and the market, the demand, consumes all the 20, and that when I do 24, they don't buy, I will not operate to produce the 24 boxes. But I would wait and still operate within the 12 hours. We are not against it. We are supporting it. I am only exposing some of the inconsistencies and the hypocrisy.
And it's within your right to do so. But let's get that out of the way so we can start to assess the way forward.
We get it. But if you look at this project, it almost looks similar to what you wanted to do one day.
Yes.
Now, how do you think they must go on with the implementation so that they do not have the challenges you had in implementing your 1D, 1F? Because your 1D, 1F, we thought the explanation was that we would have one factory in every district, but it didn't happen so.
Yes. I mean, by the time we're leaving office, I think 1D, 1F had given us over 120 factories across the country.
Functional?
Yes, functional. But there are challenges that, and I agree with Hamza, that as a country, we need to learn from some of these things and make sure that we don't fall in these pitfalls. What are the things? What are the issues? Remember, whatever challenges 1D, 1F have had, the NDC government, by virtue of being a new government, is not immune to it. There are fundamental local issues. For example, land dispute is one of the things.
Okay.
Those are things that you must be mindful of and avoid. There are districts who, till today, simply had their land cleared and couldn't put up the factories. And there are machineries on those lands because immediately they went on, land litigations erupted, and it's been back and forth up to now. There are other
machineries on those
lands. Yes, they're on the land because the people imported and all of that. There are also others who secured the land, but after they have secured the land, you have to, before you're able to use that land for any legal basis, you must register. But land registration, as you are aware, is also another thing that must be looked at if you really want to accelerate some of these things. So I agree. There are places that, for example, the road infrastructure must be improved to enable some of these industries that we want to push to succeed. Some factories that started under us had to spend so much of capital that they could put into their businesses into providing infrastructure into their sites. So these are all things that I believe that, and I've seen some of them rightly captured in the document. I've seen them rightly captured, provision of infrastructure, support for private sector, which can be in the form of utilities extension and all of that. I think that if you're able to avoid some of those pitfalls, I don't think it should be an issue of the former government did it this way and they didn't do it well, we'll do it this way. It is more of looking at it critically, identifying what the pitfalls are, because these pitfalls, you are not immune to them, and then making sure that you learn some valuable lessons in them and make this work. I want this to work. Okay. I am into private sector as well. I do processing myself as well. And so if it's thriving, it will benefit all of us. So we really want it to work.
Okay.
But I don't like the idea that government is trying to make us believe that this is the 24-hour economy thing that the problem. This is not. This is an accelerated export development program. This is an industrialization program, which is good. Eventually, if it works, one of the outcomes could be a 24-hour operation in certain areas. But this is not the 24-hour economy they promised in their campaign.
Let's bring in Hamza. Hamza, I'm at the agricultural section of this whole document you have, and it talks about Eden Volta Bread Basket Project. It says the initiative is to transform the Volta Basin into the bread basket of West Africa by cultivating over 2 million hectares of arable land under structured irrigation and climate smart systems. How do you intend to do this? 2 million hectares.
Yes, but you see, even before I respond to that, Kojo, it is important for me to briefly respond to many of the concerns raised by Miracles here. I do not want to take away the beauty of the policy proposal that we have brought to the good people of this country by jumping into the politics of it, especially so when we are mandated with the responsibility of executing it and reflecting the ideals of His Excellency President Mahama. Because he has cautioned that we should try as much as possible to go beyond the NPP and NDC rivals. But that notwithstanding, you see, it is not accurate to say that this is a government that is interested in slogans and that we have an arrogant posture. I'm pretty much convinced that our viewers listening to you would be shocked this morning. Because in the politics of this country, everyone knows the political party that manifests such attributes. When you even succeeded in borrowing, in your arrogant disposition, you organized a Kenke party at the Ministry of Finance. We have choked a lot of successes in this 6-month period. Have you seen us go to town celebrating, even with how far we have handled the cedi to dollar?
All right.
No, it's important. Please, Kojo, please, Kojo, don't do this.
Oh, no, you reacted. You see, I've asked the question.
Again, so let us, and when it comes to speaking to Ghanaians with sensibilities about their feelings, we have demonstrated same. Because at every step of the way, we are charged by His Excellency President Mahama to manifest his demeanor. Many of you, because of the way you communicate, is now being branded as one of the reasons why you lost power. And my brother in particular has been flagged by even research organizations like Musa Dankwa's research organization. No, but I'll go there because I'm just
it's a lie that you told us.
You are not the moderator. You are not the moderator.
You will never deal with it.
You are not the moderator.
You would never deal with
it. You see, I was so uncomfortable.
We have about 20 minutes.
I'm dealing with the issue. Didn't he talk about arrogance?
You have responded to that.
You've addressed it.
He also made the point about the public sector. Please, Kojo, I'll come to your question.
But if you use it to rebut, it will never make progress.
No, I am not rebutting. I am in government. And I speak on behalf of the party that is in government.
Sure.
He has made allegations. We must carry the Ghanaian people along. If they do not understand the basis and buy into the propaganda, it will be difficult for government to implement its policies. So as part of my responsibilities, apart from spreading the gospel according to the policy,
let me help you make it
please,
simple.
he made reference
Did you say before the elections that the 24-hour economy will be 1333? Did you say that?
Yes, and we are not running. Even what you read, you can read it again. Where in it has it been said that we are abandoning the 133 policy?
Why did this state the 133 policy?
No, you see, but he told you that it includes, unless of course your English is challenged.
Okay.
Is that not what you read?
It says it goes beyond the shift system.
Yeah. So does it mean that the shift system is excluded?
No, it's part of it.
Absolutely. It's common sense. You said come on, don't do this when you were talking about strike.
Why is it in the document?
Are you going to allow him to do that? I can do that better.
I've told you not to.
You know we don't like that. The two of us, we don't. So keep quiet and let me make my point.
So let's go on.
Kojo.
2 million hectares of land.
I'll get there, please. I'll get
You can't deal with that.
You see, Kojo, we have also made the point that even before the policy was launched, in opposition, we were clear. So it is not correct to say that we said that this was going to be driven by the public sector. We had always maintained that we were going to provide the enabling environment and the necessary financing to support the private sector to drive the policy. Go and check President Mahama's public utterances on the policy.
I'll read it to you here.
Go and check his public utterances on the policy. So it is not accurate to say that we said that it was going to be driven. Again, yes, the policy is demand-driven, and we never moved away from that reality. That is why we said that we are going to invest in those sectors to ensure that it opens up to recruit many of our youth who are unemployed. And you are talking about the nationalistic nature of the job, of the 24. We should have told them that, oh, someone in Passingpe would not benefit from the 24-hour economy because it's not going to be national. It is not true. It is national. You are not from Greater Accra. You work in Greater Accra. They have many of their kids, either in Passingpe, in the Upper East region, or Tamale in the Northern region. Many of their children are in Accra looking for job opportunities. Many of them are in Kumasi looking for job opportunities. And if you indeed read the policy, we have also even indicated that we would ensure that at least every region out of the 16 regions, there will be a factory intended to run the 24-hour economic shift policy. So it's national in character. So you did not read it. And back to now the agriculture, please. Your question now. Your question now. But your question is important for me to your manifesto. It's important for me to. Okay.
It says the 24-hour economy, a deliberate policy to encourage and support businesses. You're right there, and public organizations to operate 24-hour in 3 shifts of 8 hours to boost production, promote productivity, and generate well-paying jobs. When it comes to public organizations, what do you need to make it?
But some of the public organizations have started, something like the Publishing Company Limited.
Okay.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs also announced a 24-hour economic policy implementation in terms of even the handling of passports. Okay. You know the Driver Vehicle Licensing Authority has done the same. So the public sectors that are strategically positioned to do so, they are doing so already.
So you're saying that now, if we go to the Ghana Publishing, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the DVLA, 24/7, will meet people to attend to us.
You should be able to meet your demands, yes, because they have made some aspects of their operations 24-hour.
Okay.
So let us respect that. But you see, now back to your issue. You see, that is why I'm saying that if the document is elaborate, we have identified not only the Volta Basin, but we have also identified important sectors like Yeji, Mpang, I hope I get the name right. Is it Mpankong or something like that? Then towards the Bupe zones. And the idea is to invest in those areas to ensure that we at least take away the transportation bottlenecks. And that is why we have said that government alone is making available about in excess of $300 million to support that sector. And remember, President Mahama in his first state
is for the agric.
Not entirely for the agric. Not entirely for the agric. Okay. DACF is also unleashing about $148 million or so to support the initiative. But it is important for you to go back to the first State of the Nation address when His Excellency President Mahama presented a holistic approach as far as agricultural mechanization and improvement in our agricultural prospects are concerned. So it is holistic. And so government in its own, the government policy for agriculture sector will also dovetail into the promise that we are going to invest heavily in the Volta Basin. So if you are looking at the amount, it's not going to be produced in 1 year. Okay. Remember, the entire budget for the implementation of the policy is about $4 billion for the next 4 years. So the onus is on us as a government to be able to raise the necessary funding to drive it.
My question then is, 2 million hectares of arable land is huge.
It's huge.
Land preparations will come in and all of that. You're saying that in the next 4 years, this can be done.
Absolutely. That is the target.
Arable lands.
That is the target.
So what's the strategy?
But I've just explained to you the strategy. I've told you that already government has. Look, if you listen to him, His Excellency President Mahama, the entire anchor of his administration was on agriculture.
Yeah.
For us to invest in our agriculture sector. So government policy in that regard is there. And that is why we're even introducing the agriculture mechanization centers, which the minister responsible for agriculture development is also driving as we speak today. So that all would feed into this policy initiative to ensure that they work in tandem with the authority to be able to deliver these ones.
Let's talk about funding sustainability. You mentioned this $4 billion over the next 4 years. Of course, government is only absorbing about 10% of this figure.
Yes.
So where is the rest coming from? How do we ensure sustainability? And Miracle, I'll come to you in terms of your views on the fiscal prudence of this huge investment we're talking about. So expatiate for us. Exactly how do you intend to make $4 billion work?
I think government has stated in the document, the 24-hour economic document, that apart from the 10% we will give, we are looking at ways of bringing in the private sector, especially our financial institutions.
A skeletal framework yet?
Yes, if you read the document is elaborate on that.
Yeah, because one of
the bottlenecks that we have has to do with the huge collaterals that banks require. So we are looking at a system where we can move away from mostly about 60% requirement in collateral to where we can bring the figure down to about 16 or 17%. And government would be an important player in terms of providing the necessary guarantees to the industries that government will identify. Remember, this year alone, we are looking at about 17 to 20 SMEs to sponsor or to support in that particular regard. So it is the job of the authority, or it will be the job of the authority, if it is eventually passed, to engage with our financial systems. And that will range from commercial banks to savings and loan schemes, to see how we can work with them to be able to provide the needed financing, which dovetails into the $4 billion that we have budgeted for the next 4 years. So we are going to raise it using local banks, savings and loan schemes, and where we can tap on grants. Because remember, if you look at organizations like the United Nations and the World Bank, there are grants available depending on how you're able to tailor your agriculture sector, where you can source and support that drive. So it is a holistic objective.
Okay, Hamza, well, the 10% of $4 billion is $100 million, isn't it?
Yes.
What will that go into?
It will go into first like that. Well, we said that we are going to put it in 3 pillars. We have the agriculture production pillar. So a chunk of the money will go into that sector. We also have the second pillar, which is logistics. And when we talk about logistics, we are looking at how, like I indicated in the Volta Lake, how we can strategically invest in places like Yeji, Bupe, to be able to serve as inland ports. So when you have goods coming from those zones, they can serve as inland ports to get it to required destinations, as far as the capital is concerned. So investments will go in that regard. That is the logistic aspect of it. There are roads that will be constructed to be able to link productive centers to many of these inland ports. Then we also have the digitization drive, where government will have to invest in digital economy to ensure that we ensure connectivity between the various sectors. That is the logistic aspect of it and agriculture production aspect of it. So it's holistic.
Hamza, yes, I get the holistic bit. But you see, $400 million, you're talking about the Bupe inland port, right?
And Yeji.
Yes, but that alone would consume majority of that money you're talking about.
But you see, unless maybe you are not listening to me.
No, I'm listening to you. Then you come into the agriculture bit you've explained as well. The reason I'm asking about where those $400 million will go into is that you've already said that the remainder will come from private sector. So if government is going to spend the $400 million, specifically what will, because it can't all be using the Yeji and then the other things you've explained. So where exactly will they go? So that when we are also following,
but
the government says, I will apply this money in doing ABC.
I think you are jumping the gun, Kojo. Okay. First of all, you know that there's no way, no government will spend money without first of all seeking parliamentary approval. So when that allocation is made eventually by the minister responsible for foreign affairs, for finance, and that of the one that we're expecting from the DAC, if District Assembly's Common Fund, when that is made, the authority, if it is passed into law, will now present a budget to Parliament based on which that budgetary allocations you want to see, the details you want to see, will be clear on the budget that they will present to Parliament. But we cannot sit here and say that out of 400 million, 20 million is going to go to infrastructure, 10 million is going to go to digitization. No, we cannot do that here. When the funding is made available to them, the authority will sit as an authority in consultations with His Excellency President Mahama. They will determine how, in tandem with this overall objective, where to put which amount of money, what amount of money, and send it before Parliament for approval. So let us not jump the gun.
You mentioned that you want this to work. And now they've sort of given us a skeleton. Oh, he said that. I'm just quoting what he said. He said he wants it to work.
As well, so.
And it looks like they have a fair idea of how they want to fund this. But your job as opposition is not only to critique, but also to help them find proper solutions for the problems of this country. First of all, what are your views on the fiscal prudence of this $4 billion investment? And what concerns might you have?
You know, the NDC, they like $1 billion. Remember the big push? Remember the big
10
push?
billion.
Yeah. They like $1 billion. I listen to them. And this is no different from all the industrialization policies this country has seen since 2000. Kufuor had a plan like that. Professor Mills had. Even John Mahama, His Excellency, in his first term had. And he has this as well. This document is simply a policy document aimed at revitalizing our industries and private sector and get them that enabling environment to operate. Outcome may be a 24-hour economy, but it is not something that is necessarily cast in stone. Because like I said, 24-hour economy is a demand and supply situation. You can be the most viable company in the world, but you may not necessarily need to operate on a 24-hour basis. It won't even make sense.
But have we said that all companies will do it 24-hour basis? Is that what we have said?
No, I mean, let's hear him out. You're not alluding to the fact that it's a one-size-fits-all, are you?
No, but I'm simply saying that these guys made categorical statements. They said it too. It's not like they said it. That's why when he had an opportunity to deal with all the things I said, there's even not one that he could dispute other than try to attack my person, which means nothing.
How did I dispute it?
No, he didn't. They said that the one that I couldn't. Organizer, do you see him there? The teaching of organizer will preach 24 hours. Is there? You are trivializing now after you.
I'm telling you, this is pet.
After you won power, you are trivializing.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you are going this way.
Let's
you want to see her pretty
face.
Yes.
We listen to you. Let's hear him out.
The president himself stood on the podium and spoke about boomerang, clubs operating 24 hours. Do you see it there? They said specifically that we are going to provide incentives for companies who operate 24 hours or who decide to operate 24 hours. And then specifically, they were quite specific. They said we'll provide them with some off-peak electric.
Yes.
Do you see it there? Relax, not a matter of her. I'm talking about what you said and what you are doing. You can't gaslight us. What do you mean by her? And then when we say you have not read what do you mean by her? So actually, if we've point it out to where it is.
Is it? Do you see wisdom in the strategy?
There is hold on. Let me
get a word in. Do you see the wisdom in saying the things they said, now assuming office, doing their own assessment based on what's available, what they can do?
No, there's no wisdom in that.
And then coming back to say that, okay, based on our own... Remember, they formed a committee, brainy people put together to proffer solutions and figure out exactly how they can roll this out. So perhaps it's not more of a U-turn, rather re-strategy.
So you're saying that anybody at all can take the country?
It's
right.
I mean,
you can take the.
We have not left out anything.
Miracles
you
now.
can take the country on a ride. Okay. Say whatever you want to tell them. When you come to power, before you come and do an assessment. So you threw policies in there without knowing what you're going to do.
They haven't thrown the policy away, have they?
I'm giving you specifics. That do you see it there?
And I asked you specifically on fiscal prudence.
Do you see?
Yet we are here,
do you see the specific things they promise the Ghanaian people in there?
My brother is confused.
Let me tell you, he's talking about Ghana. Ghana Publishing has been operating 24 hours under David Asante for long. I even said it on Asempa long before we left power. And I kept making the point. The reason why Ghana Publishing is operating 24 hours is because it is needed. Because when you go to Newtown here, when you go to Newtown here, when we have printing presses who are doing similar jobs like Ghana Publishing, they do 24 hours. Okay. Here at Newtown, they do 24 hours without any government intervention. You know why? Because their job and their business demands that. And that's why Ghana Publishing is doing. It is not NDC that introduced 24 hours to Ghana Publishing. No, it has been there under David Asante long ago. Whenever the institution, the organization, be it public sector or private sector, needs to do that, you don't need any extraordinary intervention from government to be able to do that. But when you come back and make specific promises to the businessman in Tema that currently you're operating and closing at 6 p.m. When we come to power and you decide to operate till the next day 6 a.m., we'll give you off-peak power incentive. He wants to see it there. Is it there?
Given the timelines that they have given, 18 months, Are you confident that they can rake in as much money, revenue that they say they...
I really pray they do.
But you're not confident right
now?
No,
I really pray they do. Okay. Because if they do, we are all going to benefit. I really pray they do. I really pray that whatever they have in this document, we don't get back here in 18 months discussing and they giving excuses and other reasons to shift from what they have in the document like they've done with their own campaign. Honestly speaking, I really pray they do. But what I want to tell Hamza is that he's in government. He should calm down. Whether he likes it or not, they are receiving our taxpayers' money to do things that will benefit the country.
I accept.
They cannot tell us to shut up.
Nobody's telling you.
Please. They have no business to do that. In fact, they have no moral right to do that. Yes. They have to shut up and get the work done because they have asked for it. We didn't. As I sit here right now, I have no such fiduciary relationship with any Ghanaian. He does. That's because he has come to us with a specific manifesto and promised us heaven. You can't promise us heaven and now come and deliver hell to
They won't be the first party in power to do that. So let's move on from the blame game. No.
That is gaslighting.
I'm saying that here on this table, I'm more concerned about incisive, solution-driven conversations.
No.
Rather than he did this, we did that. You know what I mean?
What's the solution? That's
what I'm asking you.
What's the solution? But that's why I'm giving you responses and you're telling me I should give you the way you want.
No.
I am telling you that.
These guys, calm down, my brother.
Why? Promised specific things.
Calm down.
Today he seated here and he's running away from
But I'm saying you made this point over and over.
What am I running away from?
Because he hasn't responded to it.
What am I running?
Because when you look at the document is at complete variance with what they said. Do you recall the president's media engagement? Do you recall the president's media engagement? And his elaborate explanation to the 24-hour economy? Do you recall what the NDC chairman said? You think it's nothing?
But who has run away from
this document that you are seeing?
Running away from
this document that you are seeing, go to the Ministry of Trade website.
Who is running away from
this? Same document, apart from inserting 24-hour economy in certain paragraphs, has been on the Ministry of Trade website for years. Because, like I keep saying, this is simply part of the policies that Ghana Export Promotion Authority is doing. It is simply part of the economy.
Why have you been speaking for God knows how long?
I sat here and listened to you for 5 minutes. Why are you so agitated?
And I'm listening to you for 8 minutes now. Over 8 minutes now. Calm down, my brother.
Don't do what you are doing.
Calm down. Calm down.
Why are you
so agitated?
Sit back and
is it the policy that is agitating you?
Our audience don't tune in to listen to us.
Because what he's doing is wrong. You are just interrupting. If you go to, you are in government. Let me speak.
Why are you so agitated this morning?
No, you are misbehaving.
The policy is annoying you.
Yes, it's annoying me. Because you promised us.
Because you know that we are going to
deliver something else. And you think I don't have to be
honest? I think Kojo wants to take the conversation to another level.
You scam the entire country and we are speaking and you don't want me to.
If you look at page 30 of the document, it says,
don't cry on this too, I beg you.
Enabling regulations, including labor laws, local government bylaws, and business licensing to support expanded hours of operation and innovation in economic activity. Doesn't that answer your question?
Which document are you reading from?
The 24-hour economic policy.
So you see, as we sit here right now, if you read this and you juxtapose it against what it is that day, the NDC said during the campaign period, you see a complete variance.
But I'm saying that doesn't it fall in tandem
with
what they said?
No, it doesn't.
That this one is to encourage businesses.
No, that's not what you said. See, this is the NDC's FAQs during their campaign. It's here. I am saying that it is okay. You brought a policy document, which we agree.
Please read it.
Which we agree to. Not a problem. Because like I've told you, this is no different. This is not different from the... You don't...
Read what you have said is on your phone. Read it.
Why are you...
Our questions and... read it. Read it.
Why are you doing this?
Read it.
Hamza, to be fair, he has the floor. When we come back to you, then you can also, revert to your point.
How long are you going to speak? If you wanted to do it one-on-one way, we should have just told you.
I'm sorry, we'll come to you. Because you get a question in.
Yeah. Are you done?
We shall consciously promote discipline and efficiency in already existing 8-hour work schedule in public institutions and a new additional work shift by introducing appropriate measures to root out practices that militate against efficiency and productivity in the public sector. Public organizations who are currently running 8-hour shifts will be running 3 shifts. 1 job, 3 people. Do you see that here? Do you see that here? Let me tell you, do you know the number of young people in this country who simply thought that if we have 800,000 people in public sector and you are promising them 133, then obviously immediately you come to office, we are going to have 2.4 million. So you are going to bring an additional 1.6 million. For which reason they went to queue to vote for you? For whatever reason, you have come, like you're saying, you've had to assess, work, and readjust what you said. What you need to do is to, first of all, acknowledge and admit that what you told us emphatically is a bit different from what you are trying to do. But you don't come and sit on TV and make all of us feel like we are foolish, excuse my language, and that we don't know what we are talking about. You promised us specific things. You told the people specific things you would do. This document, as you are seeing, if you like, go and pick all the industrialization policy documents this country has seen from the year 2000 till now. It's the same thing. I'm telling you, the only difference here is the insertion of 24-hour economy. Okay. That is all. But that's not what you promised us.
So
and you know what this is?
You see, Miracle seems to be hammering on the point that the things you said in the lead up to election 2024 on what the 24-hour economy is, how you want to implement it, and how it meets the Ghanaian at the point of their needs seems to be a little different from what you've produced now in this policy document that we are reading.
It is not. That is why.
So can you respond to the discrepancies between what you said and what you're seeing, so we can move on?
I don't see any
because I want to probe this make 24 issue and then we can move
but you see, sweetie, it is important for me to state that even in my initial submission, I made the point that we would be interested in the NPP's critique of the 24-hour policy. That tells you that this is a government that is ready to listen. This is a government that respects dissent, even from its political opponents. And so, for you to sit in this chair and create the impression that we don't want you to talk, when nobody has said that, clearly tells me that you are only imagining things in your head like you've always done. And that is problematic. Secondly, my brother, we are not in any way running away from whatever we said. In opposition, we were consistent that as part of the 24-hour policy, we will ensure that we provide the needed environment to empower the private sector to run the 24-hour shift. And government organizations would also be positioned to run it. But government will not drive. What's the name? The public sector will not drive the policy. We're clear. And yes, we said 133, and we are sticking to that 133. There's nowhere in the policy document where we have said that we are revising the 133 promise that were made. And so today, I know a number of organizations like NPA. I am told they are also at the discussion stage to see how they can roll it out.
Yes, I just thought.
People have been employed. I may not be able to put out the figures here, but I know that in preparation towards that policy, people have been employed because there are so many things that can be done. New regional offices are coming up in the case of NPA that they are strategically positioning to ensure that they roll out these policies. So it is true. Some people will work from morning to afternoon. Others will take over midnight, and others will take over from midnight to 6. And there will be different employment, and government is still committed to that. So it is not that we are revising our policies in that regard. So miracles, you see, nobody's...
No, I want to moderate this.
I hope that you are not going back to him. How many minutes have I spoken?
I'll come back to you.
Sweetie, if you wanted a one-on-one...
I'm trying to moderate this so we can move forward.
No, but that's not fair. You could have done that with me. You did it.
Evidence is not evidence of absence. So they are still sticking to their one job, three shift system. So, Hamza, I'm just trying to clear that out of the way so we can move forward.
He doesn't own the channel.
You can land on your point.
No, because she knows
because I want us to move to renewable, reliable energy and how you're actually going to lay these significant foundation before we can go.
So, but it is important for us to understand that unlike them, my brother, we respect your views.
What you're saying so that miracles can move.
Why are you interested in summarizing mine and not his?
I did.
But let me make my point. You see, my brother, I can assure you, calm down and understand that this is a government that is ready to engage. And I can advise you, even as a political party, we'll be more than interested, even in receiving your inputs as to how you think that we should proceed on this journey, irrespective of the fact that we know how challenged you are when it comes to many of these things. Because sometimes it is important to reason or to imagine the brains behind failure in order to avoid yourself from going into such pitfalls. So we are more than ready to engage. Don't think that we are a government that will shut the doors on you or criminalize dissent. Absolutely not. Because we intend this policy to go beyond the normal partisan lines. And that is the reason why I'm resisting the temptation to go hard on the political front by making comparisons in terms of policies you rolled out.
Which is why because we have gone past that stage. Which is why
and so this is not the usual political communication you need to engage as far as this policy is concerned. This is about the future of the country. This is about how we can effectively connect our productive sectors to be able to reap the needed benefits. We've always complained since independence.
So Hamza says the fundamentals of our economy must change. There's been some employment, right?
Yes, there's been some employment. Of course, TPLA has made some employments, yes. In terms of their commitment to rolling out that policy.
Okay.
I know as a matter of fact, in the case of DVL. And then PR say, well, I'm told that they are also at the discussion stage and they are making the necessary preparation towards that and also boxed.
So why sack people when you knew you were going to employ?
Sack which people?
I mean, the people who were employed before, were employed in December that they were let go.
But if there's nothing that bars government, because we're looking at the economic fundamentals at the time. We explained. And we raised issues about the manner in which many of them were employed. Election year, we call it midnight employments in the United States of America. There's a need for us to sanitize the process. Because we're looking at the wage bill. And we are not just employing. We look at the wage bill and our debt to GDP ratio before clearance is given for people to employ. So this is a government that is very concerned and meticulous when it comes to managing our revenues. And so we will not behave like that.
And they are not party people?
What do you mean by party people?
Oh, no, I'm just asking. Because
no, I don't understand. You have to break it. Party people in which way?
You said that some people have been given clearance to employ. One of the defense in the December...
We are employing Ghanaians.
Okay. All right.
Irrespective of their partisan affiliation.
Do you remember the $1 million per constituency?
Yes. And that is why I said that...
At the end of the day, it affected the DACF. I read here, you tell us that you're working with the DACF to see how much they can also contribute. Will that affect how much then assemblies will get in the long run?
Not absolutely. Our assemblies are even getting better under His Excellency President John Mahama. Remember that we have indicated that the minimum allocation for assemblies this year is going to be 25 million Ghana cedis per each district assembly.
Okay.
They never saw that in the entire 8 years of the NPP's administration.
So when they start, that 25 million will never reduce?
That $25 million is there. We are dealing with the District Assembly's Common Fund.
Yes.
As an entity, to make available from its own funding 148 million. It does not mean that it's going to affect the formula in terms of allocation to the District Assembly's Common Fund. We are committed. We are the brain behind the District Assembly's Common Fund system. And so we will not do anything to jeopardize that future. Unlike them, we will be very careful in terms of how we handle our District Assembly concepts. So knowing President Mahama, he's not going to joke with that commitment.
All right.
In terms of, there's something here, let me just read it and ask my question. It says, Make 24 goes beyond simply building factories. It focuses on creating inclusive and productive industrial ecosystems that strengthen backward and forward linkages. And it goes on to link it to the African Continental Free Trade Area. Yes. And, just like the famous saying, we cannot, the independence of Ghana is meaningless until it's tied to the total liberation of Africa. Our infrastructure, in terms of road network, in terms of the differences in tariff of the various countries in Africa, seem to be a real challenge, for which reason we are not seeing AfTA being as successful as it ought to be. How do you position this 24-hour economy plus policy within the context of AfTA so that we can make the most out of it, not just as Ghana, running a 24-hour economy, but also leading the charge to actually maximize the benefits we can chalk from AfTA?
But that is the more reason why we are emphasizing on the principle of Make 24 in terms of contributing our quota to that regard. If Ghana is successful in terms of this objective by empowering industries that we are supposed to empower and strategically linking it to even the African free continental trade.
So you intend to link what, like road infrastructure to
road infrastructure, that's part of the logistics, you see, and you need to understand that's part of the logistics bit of it. In most cases, we have to look at even sea transport is part of it. You understand? There's like we spoke about the Volta Lake and the need for us to make huge investments as far as our corridor is concerned to ensure that we are able to move our produce from the hinterlands, especially to the regional capital, Accra, for onward transport. This positions us to be able to trade effectively even amongst us as African countries. And we will look at our products that will have competitive advantage in. And if we do so, and we're able to trade effectively with the likes of Nigeria, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, and Benin, we are feeding into the overall objective of AfTA. And most importantly, Ghana would have positioned itself to begin to reap the benefits of AfTA even before many African countries. Unless, of course, they also decide to follow through policies like we are now proposing as a government.
Okay, so
that is how we all feed into the AfTA objective.
So in terms of infrastructure, specifically, I'm asking because I think that's the biggest problem we face.
Yes.
What's it called? Yeah, the linkages in terms of roads.
Intercontinental.
Are you budgeting for that as well? Because you have to...
We don't want to make the policy over ambitious.
Okay.
Those that are within our control, there are things that we will do. Like I have indicated, the road network, we are looking at how to bring produce to Accra. It falls within the zones of Ghana.
Those are your priorities
we'll
right
make investments in those areas.
Okay.
We are looking at sea transport, how we need to get our produce from the hinterlands to Accra or Takoradi or Tema. Investments that would lead there in terms of logistic investments, government would ensure that it plays a critical role in driving those investments. But when it comes to interlinkages between country to country, it is also another angle that we cannot overburden the 24-hour economy because that one would need interstate collaboration to be able to effectively handle things like that.
Okay.
So priority Ghana, and then we can see how it goes from there.
So let me just ask Hamza one last question. Hamza, I mean, we've all confirmed that you want to do 2 million hectares of arable land in the Volta Basin. Now, I was just doing my calculations. Now, it would require some $4,940 to, cultivate 1 acre of land. Yeah, that means that it will require for the 2 million some $9.8 billion just for the Volta Basin cultivation we want to do there. But we are saying that the entire budget we're looking for the this whole project is 4 billion, right?
See, but the misunderstanding you are having is that this is government's budget.
Hold on. Let's take it one by one. The entire budget for the project is 4 billion, right?
For which project?
The economy, 24-hour economy.
The 24-hour economy is 4 billion, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, out of 4 billion, you say government will take 10%.
Yes.
Isn't it?
And source the rest.
Yes. And I'm saying that just your 2 million hectares in Volta Basin alone, you recover 9 billion.
And that's why I'm telling you that you are confusing the issues.
Okay, help me deconfuse me.
You see, first of all, don't forget the angle about providing the enabling environment for the private sector to be key players as far as these sectors are concerned. It is not government alone that is going to cultivate that 2 million hectares we are talking about. Our job is to provide the needed environment for even the private sector to be critical in that. So what it means is that the private sector on their own will come in with their money. We are not going to farm those lands.
I'm not contesting that. But when you hear that the entire budget for the entire project is 4 billion,
yes,
and just the
how much money would government need to resolve issues of land ownership disputes as far as that basin is concerned?
Well, I know that you consider all of that. I'm asking
Kojo, let me
that when you see
question.
the contradiction between
there's no
just
contradiction.
One
let me
bit
answer
of the entire project.
You see,
alone
that's why
is
you
over
see,
9 billion.
I'm trying.
We should be asking questions.
No, I'm trying to prevent you from confusing the issues.
Okay.
You have done your own computations as to how much it will cost to farm the 2 million hectares of land.
Okay.
I am telling you that it is not government that is going to carry out the farming activity.
Oh, you've said that.
So government is going to provide the needed environment.
Yes.
To create the lands, resolve land disputes, and make these lands available. Now, if you as a private individual decides, because of the incentives that you have now seen, government has taken away the bottleneck of ownership. You are interested and you apply to the secretariat. You want to farm there, you go and farm.
Of which I will apply.
Government, you would have money. Absolutely.
I will apply, but I'm saying that.
So don't put that cost on the 24-hour economy.
I'm saying that you've budgeted 4 billion for the entire 24-hour economy, not
yes.
Out of that 4 billion, government would cough up 10% of that money, $400 million is there.
Yes.
And I'm saying that one aspect of the policy itself, the 2 million hectares of land in the Volta Basin, it will require over 9 billion. How did we arrive at the 4 billion for the entire project?
You are still making...
I'm not.
I'm going to ask you, can I respond to you?
We haven't we all agreed that the entire policy...
We have, but you see, I still need to cure the confusion in you.
Okay,
you see,
cure it.
It is important for you to understand that, yes, indeed, the cost is $4 billion for 4 years that government is looking at to drive the policy. And we've told you from day one that government is going to create only the enabling environment to drive the system. We expect a huge chunk of the investments to come from the private sector. So because I have said, as a government, that I require 100,000 Ghana cedis to get access to 2 acres of land, so that private people who are interested in farming can have access to it, it does not mean that I, as a government, will have to look for an additional 300,000 to now go and farm those lands, so that you are adding it to my cost. It's not my cost.
So
it's not my cost.
It's not up to government to take up that whole cost for farming the whole 2 million.
That is the point I'm making to you.
They have to provide infrastructure, like you said.
We provide the necessary infrastructure. If you have your money, you can put it in there.
That's fine.
Miracles. We have to.
So at the end of the day, the investments we're expecting from the 24-hour project. You want to tell me that everything will be $4 billion?
So if we've been listening to you for a while now, it's time for us to get Miracles out.
Benefits we seek to bring from
that is fine. We'll continue.
Point made. Thank you. Miracles, we should be wrapping up on this conversation, but there are things we want to run by you. Feel free to reflect at this point on everything that we've said. But I'm interested in this.
You want to see it, please.
I'm interested in this rerun of the Ablekuma North constituency election of 19 polling stations, and it's set for, 8 days from now. That's what the EC is saying. So first, feel free to reflect on everything. And
it's done 15 minutes. You see, I put a stopwatch.
Interesting.
I just want to put it on record that he is overly.
To be fair, we were also interjecting.
Yeah, but I'm saying that I wish I had that type of interjection for 15 minutes. Because then we have.
The first time you did.
Okay.
15 minutes. The first time you did. Basically, if we've done one.
The first time you did.
I'm done 45 minutes.
But so can you imagine?
Well, you see, he's in government.
Yeah,
so
It's okay. It's fine. It doesn't change the fact that he's still struggling to put even this policy into proper perspective. We are saddled with the scam of a government that doesn't even realize how much damage they've caused to even the emotions of the people by misleading them. And so, for me, for now, it remains a policy document. We would work with them as much as they want us to make sure that whatever the vision is in there comes to fruition. Okay. That is without doubt. Because ultimately, if it works out, it is Ghana that wins. But my only advice is that it is going to be very difficult for them to get the cooperation of the Ghanaian people if they adopt this posture. They are too defensive. It's too aggressive. You don't run government like that. It's acting as if they are still
from experience, right?
It's acting as if they are still in opposition. You are in government. You have a responsibility to calm down and speak to us and clarify things to us. You don't fight us when we are asking you questions. You don't fight us when we are seeking clarity. You have no such right.
Who is fighting
you? If you want to have such...
We have told you to speak as much as you want to speak. So stop involving me in the conversation. It doesn't stop involving me. I'll respond.
15 minutes, you are involving me. I didn't even speak.
I understand you have a presser at 10 a.m.
And I'll come to that. Don't worry.
But they're counting us down.
We told them to speak out so that we'll see what you have.
So they should continue. Me, I don't mind because I always knew that they will amount to nothing. This is a government that in 6 months has brought 16% electricity tariff increase to the people of this country. This is a government that within 6 months has plunged this country into an energy crisis, and for which reason they are asking us to come and pay 4 cedi 50 pesos per gallon for every fuel that we buy. This is a government that lied to us. We voted for them, and today the TUC tells the president to his face that Galamsey has escalated, and they are in the Galamsey pit creating content for social media. This is a government that reports 10 cedi as dollar rates on Bank of Ghana website, and then the gold board is trading at 12 cedis. This is a government that says that I've brought dollar down, I've brought fuel down, and yet when you go to our market and our business places, everything is still expensive. They should continue. Unfortunately, we have a democracy that once you vote for them, there's nothing you can do. But at least Ghanaians are learning from that lesson.
We have 1 minute.
They are learning from that lesson. Okay. And eventually, when time catches up with them, and Ghanaians are taking action on them, we'll all be here to have the conversation.
Posterity
on the Electoral Commission.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
On the Electoral Commission, I really am surprised what the Electoral Commission is even talking about. It is only the courts that can declare an election to be rerun, not EC. EC has no such powers. Yours is to collate your results. Once you finish your collation and there are disputes, we go to the court. The courts are the ones who determine whether an election can be rerun or not. But I'll leave that to the General Secretary. He'll be addressing the press, this afternoon. The NDC has been threatening the Electoral Commission. The national chairman was here last week and said that the EC chair needs to go. And so it looks like the Electoral Commission is beginning to fold. And because they want to protect their jobs, they are afraid because they've seen what the NDC is doing to the Chief Justice. And once they see what the NDC is doing to the Chief Justice, they are worried that it will come to them. That is not our business.
I thought you had more confidence in the EC than that, to crumble under the pressure of the NDC.
Me, have you ever seen?
You as a party.
I'm telling you about which party. We are not PROs for the EC.
Okay.
The EC must do its job. The EC has no business. We are not going to engage in any rerun in Ablekuma North without an explicit order from the court.
Okay.
As far as we know, the EC was in Parliament barely a week ago. Dr. Bosman telling Parliament that there are only 3 polling stations that are left to be collated, and then they can declare the results. That's what we know. Yeah. Nobody can just wake up one day and come and tell us that we are going for a run in 19. Right. You have lost the elections. Just accept that you have lost the elections.
Thank you.
You see, this will be a bad precedent. And let me conclude on this. If the EC and the NDC should succeed at this, you know what it means? It means that anytime there is an election in this country, mobilize your people, go to the polling station, ransack the collation center, and then come and call for a rerun. That is basically what is happening. And that is dangerous for our electoral processes and dangerous for our democracy. And this is wicked on the part of the NDC for them to even advocate.
Thank you so much, Miracles, Dennis Aboagye. You have the final word in 30 seconds. I'm sorry, we
have
to go.
On
this EC matter. Why? On the EC matter. On the EC matter, to be fair.
15 minutes on
30 seconds.
So he can have that.
I think it is important to state that when it comes to the economy we inherited.
EC, please.
I'll go to EC.
No, we don't have time.
Yes, I'll do so in your 1 minute.
I told you.
I'll do so in your 1 minute.
Why does he have 1 minute?
When it comes to
and then you spoke first.
When it comes to the economy and all the claims that he has
next time you know you don't want me to speak, don't invite me.
No.
Well, so that's our time.
What is not fair?
Quickly on the EC. You see, first of all, I'm glad that you have joined us. Please, I'm glad that you have joined us. I have always been consistent, and the National Democratic Congress has been consistent that this EC must go in terms of how incompetent.
Why should the EC go because you say so?
So if indeed you have a problem
because you say so
with the conduct, you have a problem with the national.
So those who join us for the conversation today, we have Hamza Suhini and Dennis Miracles Aboagye. I'm sure your microphones are muted. Dennis Miracles Aboagye is aide to former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and Hamza Suhini is a member of the NDC communications team. They join us to discuss many matters.
Look, there's a sad news that we need to. For football lovers, we are hearing just a while ago that Diogo Jota, for those of you who are Liverpoolians, he's passed in an accident in Spain a while ago. That's the news that we're gathering. So for football lovers and especially Liverpool fans and Portugal fans, Diogo Jota died at the age of 28. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more. Please to stay with us.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the AM show, and thank you for your patience. Now, yesterday we had a conversation with the GRA on modified taxation. Today we continue our engagement, and we're taking a look at VAT on non-life insurance. We have 2 gentlemen in studio to help us shine more light on this. We have Sugar Adukonu, Chief Revenue Officer for Policy and Programs Department at GRA, and we have David Latte Kwakopom. He's Chief Revenue Officer and Commissioner for DTRD, that is Domestic Tax Revenue Division Secretariat. Gentlemen, welcome. I haven't met any man called Sugar. And I'm Sweetie, you know? Nice to meet you.
In actual fact, you're Sugar as well.
Maybe you need to test it.
Hey. Well, on that note, welcome, gentlemen, to the program. And Mr. Kwakopom, did I get it right?
Yeah,
Kwakopom. Okay, Latte Kwakopom.
And
so,
I am at the Commissioner DTRD Secretariat.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that clarity. So, gentlemen, yesterday we got very insightful perspectives on modified taxation in the informal sector. Today, we're going to talk about the VAT on non-life insurance. So, let's start with a brief on what this really means to the ordinary Ghanaian. Mr. Kwakopom.
Okay, thank you very much. So, non-life insurance, basically, has to deal with, so VAT on non-life insurance, yes. This has to do with charging the tax on services that are provided by the insurance companies in this country. It's a tax that has been on the...
Well, sorry, we need to work on your microphone, so stay on for me. Let Sugar take this. So, Sugar, answer the question about what this VAT is all about.
Okay, so VAT have been with us for a long time. So there are certain items that have been exempted for some time. So non-life insurance is one of them. So governments at this point in time decided to charge, bring in the non-life into the tax space. So it's a tax on non-life insurance. Any insurance that is classified as non-life, which include the marine insurance, the fire insurance, and the property insurance. They are all non-life insurance.
So the insurance on our cars and all of you?
No, so the law exempt insurance on the car.
Okay.
So in the definition, the vehicles are be excluded from the definition of non-life in the Act. So any insurance that have to do with non-life, there's a VAT on it, and it's at 15%, the standard rate that we charge the VAT. And this is basically to expand the tax base, bringing more services or products that have been exempted before into the tax net.
Who and who does it affect?
It affects me and you if you decided to take non-life insurance.
Okay.
So assuming that you walk to any insurance company today, they say you are going to do non-life insurance, the insurance company will have to charge you the tax on it. The insurance company, they are just a collection medium or point. So they take the tax on behalf of the authority and account for it to the authority. So anybody, any citizen, any company, any entity who decided to insure either their property, traveling to ensure workman compensation, anything that you want to insure, which is non-life, except vehicles, you have to pay. So
and is this a new tax?
No, it's not a new tax.
Okay, Mr. Kwaku, you'd explain to us the difference between what we are going to discuss now and the tax we already pay. If you say it's not a new tax, what's the significant difference between why we are enlightening our audience today?
Okay. Thank you very much. So indeed, it's not a new tax. And why would I say so? When Act 870 was passed, insurance or taxation of financial services was included, under which insurance will come in. Now, along the line, in preparing to pass or to implement the tax on insurance services, there were a few challenges ahead. So when the new government came in, that is the then NPP government in 2017, then they passed a law to abolish the tax on financial services, which included the life insurance.
Oh, okay.
But in 2023, the law was amended to bring it back, the tax on financial services. So it was in the works. And the GRA then had to work on the modalities and the various arrangements. We don't work alone. We work with our stakeholders. So we had to engage them to get our practice notes and other preparations, even for them to even prepare their own system to be able to capture the tax adequately. So this will work on it. And then this change of government again. So in 2025, in April, the current government then made an amendment or passed an amendment to exclude the tax on the motor insurance, which generally was viewed to affect almost everybody. So practically, the tax had been there. What was the challenge was the implementation. And the implementation also had to do with getting stakeholders on board. So as we speak, we have been able to engage generally the National Insurance Commission. We have also engaged the Insurance Association, and we're going through our various practice notes with them. There's a working group. At the end of the day, we, all the stakeholders involved, will be clear on what to do with this particular tax.
So you've arrived at 15%, right?
50% has been the standard VAT across board.
Okay.
Yes.
But you're saying that this has been on the books.
Yes.
But in terms of implementation, as in if I'm going to get my insurance.
That's right.
Paying on it is new.
Okay, so yeah, so if it comes to the actual implementation, then probably we could say that yes, paying, because then it was not being paid at the time, because we had not completed the processes that will allow us to be able to properly collect and account for it. Okay. That is most important. If we didn't do that and we started collecting, there may be challenges with accounting for the tax accordingly. So we have to agree with all stakeholders to properly put measures in place, put the systems in place to collect and account for it.
Let's talk about that. In terms of the measures and preparations that you have made, exactly what have you done to help you efficiently collect this revenue?
Okay, so we first and foremost have to adjust our system, because of the forward and back with the amendments. So we have to adjust our systems to accommodate the revenue line that will deal with insurance, VAT on non-life insurance. So we have to adjust our systems. Again, we also had to engage the stakeholders to also adjust their systems when they are doing their billing or they are issuing their invoices. Beyond that, we had to inform the general public that this particular measure, having been on the books for a while, is now being implemented. And so we all should be aware of that. So that's another area that we had to work on. Then we had to also work on the computation, because there are technicalities involved. And we have to look at working on the computation to be sure that anybody who is engaged in the supply of non-life insurance would be able to do proper computation and accurately collect and account for the tax accordingly.
Yes. And Mr. Adukonu, in terms of who bears the tax, because we are talking about insurance, I want clarity on whether it is the insurance company that is deducting this to forward to GRA, or it is the person who is buying the insurance who has to pay directly to GRA?
No, no. The VAT working such that you the consumer, you don't go to GRA to pay the money. You pay the money to the supplier. Yeah. So
who is the insurer?
In this case, the insurance companies are the suppliers. So they become the medium of collection. But the actual payer is the consumer, the person who is insuring himself or herself or her property. They will pay the money into the insurance company. Then the insurance company will then now account for it to the GRA that within this tax period, this is how much I've collected so far in terms of non-life insurance, VAT, and I'm accounting it to you. So that's how it will be.
I'm sure there are some penalties if you don't pay. Let's talk about that. What happens if you manage to escape paying this tax?
Generally, there are penalties in our tax law.
Yeah.
So all those penalties apply.
Okay.
For example, if the insurance company have collected the tax, and within the period that is supposed to account for it and didn't account for it, the law states that he didn't file the return on time, he will pay a penalty of 500 Ghana cedis. And each day that the return remain with him, he has not filed, he will pay additional penalty of 10 cedis per each day. Okay. Then if he has filed the return and did not pay for the money, he has accounted for it, but did not pay the money, the system will also calculate interest on it. So there's an interest calculation. However, if you file the return and you deceive the public, maybe you collected 100,000 Ghana cedis, and you say, well, we have not collected anything, and audit have found out, then there are penalties in the law that the auditors will impose. They will surcharge you, they will get the actual man, and also impose penalty and interest on it for you to pay to the state.
Okay. All right. Now, in terms of preparatory arrangement for this, tax to kickstart, it started on 1st July.
Indeed, it started on 1st July.
So it means that from 1st July, if you're going to take non-life insurance, you pay this tax.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
So it's already in motion.
But it excludes motor vehicle.
Right.
Yeah. Motor vehicle insurance.
Okay. I know that this administration has talked a lot about some tax reforms, broader tax policies, widening tax brackets. So where does this, not so new VAT sit within that broader objective of tax reforms, broadening the tax bracket and all?
Thank you. So the essence is to ensure that citizens of this nation contribute to the wealth of the nation and contribute also resources that will be required to provide development projects or programs. And so when you look at this tax, just like all other taxes, the importance of it is to ensure that we have broadened the tax net, widened it enough for everybody who is engaged in activities that are taxable to be brought in.
But isn't it the case that those of us going for these insurance policies will most probably be the same people who pay the income tax, pay the businesses, pay taxes, and what have you? So really, are we expanding?
Yeah, okay. So practically, the point is that, as you rightly put it, so yeah, people are already in it, but there are some that are outside as a result of perhaps the mechanisms that are being used to collect the tax are not being fully put in place. Now, the point is that the responsibility is for GRA as an administrator to ensure that the provisions of the law are strictly adhered to. So if the law has provided that we should charge this tax, then it is up to GRA to put the necessary measures in place to ensure that we have as much as possible, as many people as possible who are expected or who are required to pay the tax. And so generally what we are doing now is to make people aware that these taxes are there and they are there for us to pay when we make purchases or when we earn income. And if that is so, whoever is not in it is some of our responsibility to identify. And then if that area is involved in the tax laws, we make it known and then pursue the policies and activities to ensure that we collect the tax accordingly. Okay. So it's broadening the tax base to ensure that all are involved, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all monies that are supposed to be collected for the state to function as it is, they must be collected. And this is the effort that we are putting in place.
You're taking a lot from the same group of people.
From the same group of people, probably I would say that, I mean, once you have the tax laws, it's not GRA, the tax laws are there. And once the tax laws are also passed by what? Parliament.
Yes,
so Parliament has passed it.
For you. That's why we are not going hard on you.
So our responsibility basically is to tell everybody that this is what is available for all of us to do.
Okay.
And therefore, let's put our hands on deck and ensure that we collect the taxes.
But you don't shoot the messenger. You know, he's only breaking. But before we go, Sugar, the way insurance works, when you're buying, that is only when this applies. What about when you're claiming your, policy? When at the end of the, tenure, your policy matures and you're cashing out, do you still pay tax on that?
No, the tax is only on when you are paying the premium.
Okay.
But when you are the insurance, the event has occurred and the insurance company have to compensate you because of what you have insured. You don't pay any tax on it. Okay. So it is at the point of you insuring yourself or your property under the non-life.
Are there any exceptions?
Let me just add here that it's a two-way affair. VAT is an invoice credit system.
Yeah.
And so a registered person who now, as we call them, the agents of GRA for that matter, when they insure you and you pay, that will become input tax to them.
Okay.
Okay, no, so that will become the tax that you are paying, which is the output that is supposed to come to the authority. However, when they are paying for indemnity, then the law has made provisions for them to make a computation and take out what is called the input tax to them. So there will be a set-off, and the difference is what normally will come to GRA.
All right. Yeah. Well, we pray and wish that all of us, I mean, this one is mandatory. If you're going to take insurance, you pay the 15% on it, so we'll do it. We pray that when it comes to the utilization, those who are mandated to utilize our revenues, we utilize them properly and efficiently so that we can really get value for money that we do paying taxes to this country. Well, wish you all the best. As for you, you are harmless.
We are the messengers. But we want to also encourage the general public to come in on this, to support the
Talk to them directly.
So we want to encourage the general public to come in on this, to support GRA to effectively collect this tax. On that matter again, we want to encourage all insurance companies to put the necessary measures in place and begin to collect the tax as has been provided for. Those who are not registered should come on board and do the registration. We, together with the National Insurance Commission, would have the necessary procedures to help this run smoothly.
Mr. Adukonu, you can add a final word to that.
Yeah, so in addition to that, I want to encourage both the media, the traditional and the new media, to continue the education. Because the more people get to know of the taxes and the reason why they are supposed to pay, that is when they will accept and come and pay. So we encourage you and plead with you to continue to support us in our tax education.
We also plead with you to keep on giving us the money because you fuel us to do what we do. Thank you very much.
Those who join us for this conversation, Sugar Adukonu, Chief Revenue Officer, Policy and Programs Department of GRA, and David Latte Kwakopomi, Chief Revenue Officer at the DTRD Secretariat, Commissioner DTRD Secretariat. Thank you so much for coming. Wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
Are you looking for a home in a prime location? Then Nesta's Homes has got you covered. Our properties in Tema, Community 26, just behind Palace Mall, offer a serene atmosphere, easy access to transportation routes and social amenities. Now, off-plan prices start at $35,000 US. You can contact us today on 0531014440 or 0531014447. You can visit our website at www.nestes.com.gh.
Well, Ghana, let's talk about water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's not the correct tank. That's right. The tortoise tank, Syntex tank, is the champion of water tanks. It is strong and durable and built to handle our Ghanaian weather. So whether rain or shine, Syntex tank has got your back. As you hear my voice, go outside and check your tank. And if it doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. Call this number, 0244-335-168, to either buy one now or find one of 400 agents nationwide. You can also shop online at syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough. And that's how we'll be wrapping up the AM show this morning, this Thursday edition of the AM show. But on Thursdays, we leave you with Ghana Grows Changing Narratives, brought to you by MasterCard Foundation in collaboration with Springboard Roadshow Foundation. Of course, my name is Sweetie Aboagye.
And I am Samuel Kojobris. Do enjoy. We'll leave you with the edition of today's.